$5,000 extra in the cost of an automobile.
And a 25% tariff is still due to start tomorrow for other trading partners, including Brazil and Mexico. The market's in the red today. Sunny and warmer this afternoon. We're headed for a high of 73, but storms are possible this weekend. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming your way at 12:05. The number 2 carrier down at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport announcing a big change that will impact most all of its customers.
So much for Bags Fly Free. For the first time in its 54-year history, Southwest Airlines says it'll begin charging for checked bags for all but the highest-paying customers. Industry analyst Henry Hartevelt predicts it'll send Southwest into a tailspin.
This is how you destroy a brand. This is how you destroy customer preference. This is how you destroy loyalty.
The move takes effect in late May, just as summer travel season begins. It comes as Southwest cuts its flights into and out of Atlanta in a separate cost-cutting move. Judd Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
An apartment building in Union City is badly damaged in a fire. Investigators trying to determine how that fire at the Evergreen Commons Apartments on Highway 138 started. The top floor of that building destroyed. No word on any injuries or how many people are impacted by that blaze. This is new here at noon.
All righty. Fantastic. Motion passes.
And DeKalb County Commissioners have unanimously approved the Watershed Management Capital Improvement Plan at the meeting today. The plan outlines infrastructure projects through 2034. The commission recently approved an annual 10% rate increase for water and sewer services for the next decade. That will generate millions of additional dollars for upgrades to that aging system. Also new at noon, a judge vowing to speed up the case for a homeless man indicted for the 2022 murder of a Buckhead grandmother.
Some 16 months after Antonio Brown was transferred into state custody for mental competency exams, they're still not done. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Kevin Farmer considered holding the agency in contempt, noting how old this case is.
Both parties need closure. Your defendants don't need to sit for a long time, and victims don't need to have justice delayed. So we need to get this ball rolling.
Atlanta police said they believed Brown stabbed Eleanor Bowles when she found him trying to steal her vehicle in her gated community. His next court date's within 60 days. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
20 years ago today, tragedy strikes at the Fulton County Courthouse.
Brian Nichols was on trial for rape when he escaped custody on March 11, 2005, critically injuring a sheriff's deputy in the process. He went on to shoot and kill the judge presiding over his trial, along with a court reporter and another deputy. Later that evening, while on the run, he shot and killed an ICE agent. He was convicted on all counts in 2008 and sentenced to multiple life sentences. Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt says it's a day to honor the memory of the fallen. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens making it official.
I'm excited to kick off this campaign for the re-election of myself.
All right, the mayor officially kicking off his campaign. He has $1.3 million on hand for his campaign. As of now, no one else has announced a run for Atlanta mayor. You may want to really check out anybody who says that they can help get your kids in front of college recruits or coaches. Gainesville police say Malcolm Walker has been arrested and charged with theft by deception. They say Walker was posing as somebody who could get high school athletes meetings with college recruiters and coaches, but instead he'd take the money from families and never delivered on those promises. Police say there may be a long list of victims. And TikTok is rolling out new parental features. It's going to allow parents to limit the amount of time that kids spend on their app. Last year, the Justice Department sued TikTok over its policies around underage users. Let's take a look at the markets. We're in the red. The Dow's down 440 at 41,470. So the Dow's down more than 1%. NASDAQ and S&P are also in the red. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at the roads.
And if you're heading out toward DeKalb this lunch hour, Sabrina, a little bit of better news. That crash, I should say, has cleared from the left lanes, 20 eastbound past Wesley Chapel, exit 68, but still slow leaving 285 because you have construction in the same area that is in the left lane, so that will cause some volume heading out toward Lithonia. Left lane construction continues out of Buckhead into Midtown on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound. You're slow back toward Lenox Road, and downtown 75-85 northbound, just some lunch hour volume leaving University Avenue on and off the brakes up past Peachtree Pine Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Blue skies and sunshine for this afternoon. High 73. That's trending about 10 degrees above average for today. Sunset around 7:45. Temperatures will be in the mid-60s at that time, cooling into the mid-40s for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, sunny skies, high 75. Then the clouds return on Thursday, high 68. A few hit-or-miss rain showers and a few rumbles of thunder on Thursday. Dry but cloudy on Friday, high 72. This weekend, a strong to severe storm system will move through the southeast, including the state of Georgia. It'll bring damaging wind gusts as well as the potential for tornadoes, mainly late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. The time frame will be fine-tuned getting closer to the weekend, but now is the time to be prepared for any severe weather late Saturday into Sunday morning.
All right, we have 61 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta at 63 in Dunwoody. We'll have more news at 12:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across America. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, would be absolutely delighted to have you. You text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. You can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast. Follow me around social media and so much more. One quick housekeeping note. I won't be here on Friday. My wife has given me permission to go hit golf balls on Friday and finally have a day off, which I haven't had in quite a while. And she says I'm getting irritable and snappy. So there you have it. Now, I must begin with the economy and a silver lining for Republicans on the lay of the land here. The Dow is down again. NASDAQ is up right now. No, NASDAQ has just fallen into negative territory. Things aren't fantastic on the markets. And what always amazes me is the level of apologetics. You got it with Biden. You get it with Trump. Both sides rationalizing and defending. I want to do something here that is not for the simple-minded fool. It is to explain, not endorse, the thinking, to explain the ramifications, not endorse, and then to explain how there's actually a lot of upside here for the GOP. It depends on who you talk to, but a lot of the people who are MAGA adjacent say essentially the president is intending to provoke a recession. Why? If you talk to people within the circles close to the president, they believe a couple of things, and they're not necessarily wrong. One of which is the government has artificially propped up the stock market. Government has picked winners and losers. Government has subsidized big business. And the government now has got to cut back. Elon Musk is finding ways fraud and abuse, much of it flowing to corporate America. That's coming out. That's going to hurt those corporations. This is necessary pain to reset the stock market and get it away from being a government-dependent stock market. That's explanation number one. Explanation number two is that a lot of wealthy people have benefited from the stock market, but the poor and the middle class have not. And this is essentially redistributionist, without being communist, redistributionist, to repackage the winners and losers. Who's been winning in the stock market? The big tech stocks have been winning. The big tech stocks are a bunch of multinational corporations who don't even feel America. This is America first. The companies that invest in the United States are the ones that are going to benefit. Their stock's going to do well. And this is a realignment. Painful though it may be, this is a realignment. The other explanation is tariffs. The president has been kind of scattershot with his tariffs. It's kind of the tariff hokey pokey. You put the tariff in, you take the tariff out, you put the tariff in, you spin it all about. We don't know. Are we going to have tariffs today, tariffs tomorrow? Are they going to be rolled back? Are they going to go into effect? Tariffs with Canada don't actually make sense. We have a trade surplus in manufacturing with Canada. Did you know this? If the goal of tariffs is to reindustrialize the United States, we're actually being counterproductive in putting all these tariffs on Canada because Canada actually imports much more from the United States in terms of manufacturing trade than we do from Canada. That being the same, by the way, also a lot of U.S. steel and aluminum plants have facilities across the border in Canada. The president is up to 50% tariffs in Canada because Ontario, we're in a trade war with Canada, which actually doesn't make sense. Except according to people close to the president, this does make sense because we want the Canadians to understand they must help us on other issues like fentanyl, border crossings, things like that. This cracks the whip and tells the Canadians we're the boss, we're in charge. There is a lot of disconnect in the apologetics. It's not rational and coherent when you dig into it. I had a guy this morning, in fact, I was writing about this this morning. If you text data to 33777, you can get my piece this morning. Let me read you. This is from Rob Schmidt. Rob Schmidt is a Newsmax anchor, and he wrote, the Dow is plunging. This is happening because we have a president with the, I'll say, testicular fortitude to undo a globalist economic agenda that's decimated American wages and quality of life. This is the pain that comes from real change. It's much easier to just pass the buck. I don't know that it's a good talking point, though some are embracing it, that the president has the guts to undo a globalist economic agenda that's decimated America's wages and quality of life, raining havoc down on 401ks, which have been steadily down since February 19th. In fact, if you look at what happened when COVID broke out and we went into 15 days to stop the spread lockdowns, the markets are responding similarly. The markets then were down 13%. They're down 11.8% now. I had a guy a little while ago on my Substack. He wrote this. Like all upper-class people just selfish of their own wealth, no doubt Eric is criticizing Trump after watching his Wall Street investments decline. I actually don't pay attention to my Wall Street investments because I'm there for the long haul. But what Eric and others disingenuously failed to do is first admit that only massive government debt spending has previously propped up U.S. markets, and the markets themselves have grown disconnected from any evidence of how the bottom 80% are doing. Lastly, Eric, like the Democrats, fails to offer any alternative other than a return to the status quo. Problem here is this is solipsistic thinking. It sounds very smart superficially, except there's actually not real evidence that massive government debt spending has propped up the private sector economy. It's what they like to say because it ties into Doge, but when you actually look at corporate profits, that's not actually it. You know what's kept corporate profits up for so long? It's actually the upper income stratosphere of 20% of the upper income Americans are doing a lot of spending. The other 80% have not. And you can't, by the way, realign the stock market to benefit the bottom 80% in a way that this guy would like. Why? Because those bottom 80% are also part of the investor class. They have 401ks as well. They're getting hurt as well. It sounds real good. It sounds real good to say, well, this has benefited the upper 20%, but not the bottom 80%. Actually, what the data shows is that the bottom 80% have actually benefited by having the upper 20% spending so much more money, and now they're starting to scale back. The upper 20% have spent the money in a consumerist economy to keep the economy going. They're starting to pull back. The bottom 80% have already started pulling back. They've gotten in debt. They're having trouble making car loans. They're having trouble meeting their credit card rates. This is just kind of dumb thinking. It sounds smart until you actually look at the data. It's a data-driven talking point. But this does go into the larger thinking that there's something off on the economy. The upper income people are doing very well. The bottom income people not doing very well. The problem there is tied to the government picking winners and losers. There is a coherent line of thinking there. Tariffs, I don't actually think fix this, but there is a coherent line of thinking that the upper income people have really benefited from Joe Biden's economy. The lower classes have not, and that's true. The problem is that as lower classes have gotten more invested in the stock market through their own 401ks and retirement plans, you upend the stock market, you hurt them as well. The president wants to realign things. One of the other bits of thinking is that we're turning off the global piggy bank for the United States. And essentially the through line in all of this, the coherent point in all of this is there's a thinking among some, and the president himself is in this camp, that the United States needs to do more with less. We need to be less generous to everyone else and more generous to our own. We need to build up our economy to raise our wages and produce more in-house. The trade-off here, however, is that makes things more expensive for everyone. There's a lot of stuff that we can't make as cheaply here as we can make abroad. You bring it home, you manufacture it here, wages might go up. There's no guarantee, but costs will go up. Corporations may not actually pay higher wages. They may just return the money to shareholders. So again, the wealthy get wealthier, but the actual workers don't. Now, if the president is trying, and I'm not sure that he actually is, I'm not sure there's a comprehensive long-term vision here, but if he is trying to upend and reorder American society and the economy, he's getting some help from the Democrats. I want to play you this audio. This is Ron Brownstein talking on CNN.
Well, I actually think this is the cornerstone of their strategy for 2025. If you talk to Democrats, they recognize they are in a hole. I mean, the image of the party is probably in a weaker position than at any point since, I think, the 1980s, the Reagan and George H.W. Bush era. But if you ask Democrats how they think they are going to come back, there is a debate about, within the party, do you fight on every front or do you focus on the economic issues? And I think most Democrats believe their best chance of kind of getting a second look from the public in 2025 is this debate over the budget.
Over the budget. That's what Ron Brownstein says, but they're deeply divided right now. And this is the conversation that went viral last night with Van Jones on CNN.
And then just lastly, Van, in terms of Democrats and where they go from here, this last week we did see them some people try to protest during the president's address and then House leadership getting on to them, other Democrats calling them out. They still seem to be wandering around trying to figure this out. What's your take?
Can we ask another question? Do I need to talk about my own party? Can we talk about Ukraine or something? No. Look, man, we're screwed. I mean, we don't know. Democrats don't know what to do. This is a nightmare. Somebody like Donald Trump, we thought we'd at least have Hakeem Jeffries in the speaker's chair to hold him back if we didn't have Kamala in there to do the right thing. Listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then say, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks.
That's Van Jones. I'll say he's right on this. The diagnosis is right, and this is the point. Donald Trump has a lot of time. If he is reordering the economy, he's got time to do it. The Trump team is privately whispering they think they may be headed into a recession, but they can get out of it quickly if the Republicans deliver tax cuts. You deliver tax cuts. Should have done tax cuts before tariffs, by the way. That would have padded everything. But you get tax cuts done. Tax cuts pull you out of a recession quickly if there is a recession. But this is the larger issue, the bigger issue, the most important issue, is yesterday the stock market declined significantly. The NASDAQ was down almost 5%. And what were the Democrats doing? They weren't talking about the markets. Democrats were talking about Donald Trump's intention to deport a terrorist sympathizer. They were standing on the line defending an anti-Semitic terrorist sympathizer and also transgender activists. They weren't talking about the economy. Donald Trump's got a lot of time to deal with the economy, regardless of the rationale, whether it's to reorder the economy, whether it's to make it a more domestic-oriented economy, whether it's just to get the government out and pull government money out that's been propping up the stock market. Whatever your rationale is, what's happening is a stock market decline. By the way, this is the best time to go buy stocks. We've still got the greatest economy on planet Earth. We've still got the most resilient stock market on planet Earth. Now's a great buying opportunity for people who want to get into the stock market. There are arguments to be made. I would say cheering on the president for taking out people's 401ks is not the talking point. The talking point is this. We have to get the government out of the private sector. If we reduce government spending, the private sector grows. Let's cut taxes, cut government spending. The private sector is going to grow. And the president has time to do it because the Democrats are too worried about defending terrorist sympathizers and transgender activists than combating Republicans on economic growth.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. All lanes being held right now on I-85 northbound, right where you ramp off to the Buford Spring connector, heading up to Georgia 400. Hero and police are getting a crash off to the right, so that's why you're seeing delays out of Midtown, but hopefully that will improve. If you're traveling 400 southbound toward Midtown, you got that left lane construction on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound. That's why you see the delays leaving Lennox Road out of Buckhead, and right lane construction heading to the airport, 285 southbound, the outer loop before Camp Creek Parkway exit 2. Luckily, no delays. Just stay in those left lanes. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
News.
Runway was dry and there wasn't any crosswind at the time of the crash.
Weather.
High winds from the tornado damage.
Traffic.
The I-75 completely shut.
Everything you need to know before you start your day.
WSB recall alert.
Atlanta's morning news. Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB. How Atlanta starts its day.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
Properties come in all shapes and sizes, and so do foundation repairs. Mark Beckham here. It could be new construction, a big house, a small house, or your commercial property. Anyway, you need the leaders in foundation repair to handle it. Get your free estimate at atlantaramjack.com.
Hey, Belinda here, and I have Barry Petrie, Director of Virtual Imaging. Barry has a very interesting testimonial to share with our listeners. Barry, tell us your story.
Well, Belinda, exactly a year ago when I took over my role, one of the first things I did was scan. And at the time, I was 54 years old, never had any issues, was in a good shape, worked out every day. And I was shocked to find out that I had a score of over 1,000 in my calcium. So, and most of that 1,000 was concentrated in my LAD, which you know is the Widowmaker.
Not good.
So immediately started working with an interventional cardiologist, started working with a functional medicine specialist to try to correct that. And unfortunately, about 4 months ago, I started having symptoms and rescanned. And at this point, my calcium score had gone from 1,000 to over 1,500, and that LAD score had gone up to over 1,000. So long story short, ended up going to Northside, getting a stent put into my LAD. And now today I feel great. I regained the gear that I didn't know that I had lost. And had I not taken this role as director of virtual imaging a year ago, I probably would have not known this. And I could have been one of those folks that looks perfectly healthy and drops dead.
Absolutely. Folks, that story hits home. What are you waiting for? Go to Virtual Imaging and get a complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse. Call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or visit virtualimagingatl.com. It could save your life.
Hey, it's Scott Slade from my roofer, FGA Roofing, and I'm thrilled to hear the FGA Roofing is Tim Andrews' roofer.
My FGA roofing story is very simple. We needed repairs to our roof. And I said, hey, I'm going to call Scott Slade's roofer. FGA Roofing came out, and within 15 to 20 minutes, they had everything identified that needed to be done, and they came back about a week later and knocked that out very quickly.
Quality work is what you get with FGA Roofing. Whether you're going for repairs or if you're ready for your home's exterior for a real upgrade, the architectural shingles, the designer roofs, I mean, these are real envy points with your neighbors. They'll be stopping you on the street going, hey, who did that?
Hey, you know what? After the repair, one of the neighbors down the street, who I never even met before, came up and said, who did that? So when I am in the market for a new roof, I know who I'm going to call. FGA Roofing.
Absolutely. You know, designer roofs catching your eye, this is where you need to go. Slate, tile, wood shake, and for a limited time, FGA Roofing is offering $1,000 off your final quote if you mention Scott Slade or Tim Andrews.
That's awesome.
Just search FGA Roofing.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, welcome. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, be patient with me on the phones. I will get to you. KSLM is my affiliate out in Salem, Oregon. KSLM, I'm actually on two stations out in the state of Oregon. I'm on KSLM, and I am on KYKN out there. And it turns out over the weekend, someone decided to vandalize KSLM. We're not exactly sure who it was, but they decided to smash the windows. It was a progressive activist somewhere out there deciding to do this. Best they can tell. The engineer was there overnight late, and the windows started crashing in as someone was throwing stuff. It's just kind of a wild story. It's a conservative talk station, been out there for a while, and Ian Carlson was working the graveyard shift. Ian is a broadcast engineer, and the glass came flying in. It charged 30 feet down the hallway. It was about 1:45 in the morning. This is also near where Tesla dealerships have been vandalized. So Jackie Smith is general manager at KSLM. She says they feel like it was a targeted attack. Given the political atmosphere out there, I suspect it is. Notice you're not getting this in national media. This is a conservative talk station. It hosts my show in Salem, Oregon, among others. And it has been targeted for attack, undoubtedly by progressives who are also out there vandalizing Tesla dealerships. And you're not going to hear a word on the national media about this, are you? Of course not. The station is KSLM in Salem, Oregon. Great people out there who kindly put me on. Or KLS, KSLM. And I saw all of a sudden the paper had it KLSM. Nope, it's KSLM. It's like, I'm not crazy. So, yeah. Keep that in mind, though. You're not going to hear about this in the national media. Now, you're not going to hear about Old Glory Bank either, because Old Glory Bank is a conservative bank by conservatives who are opposed to the debanking trends that have been happening around the country. Old Glory Bank would love to have your business. They are conservatives. They're by conservatives. They are my advertiser. They're not just my advertiser. They're actually my bank. I've used them for 2 years now. Their online app is great. Their debit card features are great. In fact, at one point I misplaced my debit card, thought I had lost it, and instead of having to call them and cancel it, I just froze it with the app until I found it. Turns out it was in a different wallet. Old Glory Bank is not going to debank you. If you're a gun store, you need a great, reliable bank partner. Well, they can do it, and they can do mortgages, home loans, business loans, lines of credit, CDs, you name it. OldGloryBank.com should be your bank. OldGloryBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. An apartment building in Union City badly damaged in a fire today. Residents telling Channel 2 Action News it was a scary situation.
So I woke up to all the alarms in my house going off all at once. I shot up, awake. I got out of my bed and I walked to the living room to see what was going on. And when I walked into the living room, there was smoke coming out from the floor. It was coming out from the front door. It was coming out from the walls.
And investigators are trying to determine how the fire at the Evergreen Commons Apartments on Highway 138 started. The top floor of that building destroyed. Everybody got out safely. Your weather for today, it's going to be gorgeous. Sunny with a high of 73, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. If you're planning on your spring or summer vacation, and it includes flying, starting in late May, Southwest Airlines is going to break its 54-year history and start charging some passengers for bags. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Only Southwest's most elite Rapids Rewards A-list preferred members, as well as passengers who book their top-tier business select fares, will receive 2 free checked bags. Frequent flyer A-list members, Southwest credit card holders, and other select customers will still be allowed 1 checked bag. Everyone else will be charged for their first and second checked bags on flights booked on or after May 28th.
Southwest has been under financial pressure recently. This day, 5 years ago, the World Health Organization officially said the COVID-19 outbreak was an international pandemic. Now those free at-home COVID tests from the government are going away. The U.S. government program that offers them is no longer accepting offers, according to its website. Officials gave no reason for the change in policy. Tests ordered before March 9th, though, will still be shipped out. It's 12:32.
Multiple contractors and estimates for your home projects? What a hassle. Instead, trust the Plus. Painting Plus.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We're reliable, fully licensed, and insured. No muss, no fuss. Trust the Plus and leave everything on your list to us.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Termites could be eating your home right now, and you never know. Christina Edwards here for Breda Pest Management. When was the last time you actually saw your service inspect for termite damage? Let me guess, they just walked around the outside and checked the bait stations. Better get Breda. They use advanced infrared cameras and microwave technology for early detection. Switch to Breda, and your termite rate is locked in for 10 years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Does it seem like it's getting louder and louder? Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. That noise is your garage door crying for help. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Our highly trained technicians provide 24/7 service, upfront pricing, and free estimates. We service all major brands. Our products are warranted, and our work is guaranteed. We will treat you like our only customer. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.com.
Stay comfortable at home all year long with Jape Services. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and our team has decades of experience servicing Atlanta's heating and cooling needs, which means you can count on us. We're licensed, insured, and I personally guarantee when you call Jape Services, you'll be treated just like family. Call us 24/7 or book online at japeservices.com. That's JAPE services.com.
Jape Services. Beaver Direct Certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Alex Williams, how are we looking on the roads?
Still seeing the delays out of Buckhead into Midtown. That construction, 400 southbound on the left in the left lane of the ramp to I-85 southbound, and all lanes have reopened. 85 northbound at the Beaver Spring connector. Crash pushed off to the right there, but it's left some lingering delays coming up from the North Avenue area. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies today, high 73. That's trending about 10 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the low 40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 75. Cloudy skies on Thursday with hit or miss rain showers, high 68.
Right now on Peachtree Street, we have sunshine, 62 degrees. We'll have more news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast links. Follow me on social media. I'll be out and about this week, hopefully on a golf course soon as the weather settles down and the courses dry out. I wanted to go play yesterday, but it rained too much. Let's talk about maximum confrontation. What exactly is it? My buddy Patrick Ruffini actually put up this piece. Patrick Ruffini, the proprietor of Echelon Insights, has a piece up, The Politics of Maximum Confrontation. The history of the Republican Party in the last 2 decades is not one of the rise and fall of ideologies, but of a quenching of the right's thirst for all-out confrontation with the left. This is a story that doesn't require you to believe that the Republican voter has done a 180-degree turn on free trade or internationalism, as so many of the rise of Trump theories would have you believe. Rather, there's a clear through line from Reagan to Trump, despite the recent habilitation of the Gippers image with Democrats. Both were popular revolts against a worn-out party establishment, largely supported by their party's ideologues. But while Reaganism truly was an ideological revolution, Trumpism should be understood as a rhetorical and cultural one of unrestricted partisan warfare against the left. This is in the show notes, by the way. I highly recommend it. It's not behind a paywall. Text DATA to 33777. Subscribe to the show notes. You can get it. The central psychodrama of the Republican Party over the last 2 decades has been the civil war between the base and what it saw as a weak-kneed establishment that eschewed maximalism at every turn. The maximalism the base sought was not just in policy, at various turns on spending, Obamacare, and immigration, but also on aggressively pushing back against the left's takeover of the culture, especially after 2020. The original sin of the establishment, the match that lit the fuse of Trumpism, was the push for comprehensive immigration reform during the second George W. Bush presidency. Here were Republicans who had secured a governing trifecta and were using it against the wishes of their base on a cornerstone issue. Conservative doubts had been held at bay in the wake of 9/11 and the initial success of the war on terror, but once the Iraq War went sideways in 2005-2006, pent-up frustration burst into the open. This was most palpable on immigration and also the fact that the Republican majority seemed to have little interest in reining in spending, with Tom DeLay having held the vote open for 3 hours to drag a massive new Medicare prescription drug entitlement across the finish line in 2003. The final straw was in September 2008 bank bailout, which provided the perfect setup for the rise of the Tea Party, the GOP's ritual rebirth as a libertarian small government party. With Republicans stripped of power with the Obama election, this was a time to start fresh and to do so in the opposite direction of Bush-era compassionate conservatism and the ethically compromised congressional Republican leadership of the time. In the end, the Tea Party rebellion was as much or more about working out the GOP's anxieties about itself as it was proximately about Barack Obama. We can go on from there, but do have to note that the GOP during the Obama era, as the base was ready to fight the left at every corner, the establishment picks of John McCain and Mitt Romney cratered. And what happened? The establishment did an autopsy after 2012 that essentially said everything the establishment believed was right and the base was wrong on immigration and the like. Remember, Mitt Romney was a hardliner on immigration in 2012 in his campaign, and the establishment produced a report and said, no, we got to do amnesty to bring Hispanic voters into the party. The establishment thought it was time for a comeback, and the base of the party was furious. They felt sold out by the establishment. They felt like Romney pulled his punches, as did McCain. Remember, McCain wound down his campaign in the last weeks of it, and a lot of people have come forward since then and said McCain had doubts whether he wanted to stand in the way of history with the first black president being elected. That all led to Donald Trump. And here we are now with a president who's doing the one thing above all others that I appreciate about him. Pause and tangent for a minute. You know, I criticize the president on occasion. Like, I think the uncertainty he's offering on tariffs actually isn't good. If he said we're going to have tariffs, here's the scale, here's when they're implemented, and I'm not going to waver, that would be better than here's the scale, here's the timeline. Okay, well, never mind, we're not going to do it now, or actually the rate's going to be higher, what he's doing. If he just said, here's what it is, put it on paper, here's the timeline, while I may disagree with tariffs, the stability of having it in writing and everyone knows would actually not provoke the markets the way they are. There are things that I think he does spontaneously that his base will celebrate that I will disagree with. But what you will note is that among Trump's supporters, there are several classes of people who may like what they're getting and they may not be fully on board with him, and they're treated as badly. I say that as someone who's in this camp, as a lot of the left is. You're a traitor of some kind because you like what you're getting, you're willing to defend it, but you do have some quibbles and you speak up. You're not supposed to speak up. There are others within MAGA who they come to the same conclusion, but they have different rationales for it, and they hate each other. There's a lot of internal division within MAGA as to means and also the outcomes. The ends sometimes justify the means. Sometimes the means justify the ends. A lot of us like the ends. Maybe we quibble with the means, and the internal to sin is something that is almost verboten, except it's not going to stop a guy like me from speaking up. That's part of my job. But boy, it does get you hate mail, even if you're defending the ultimate outcome, even if you're defending the policies. Off the tangent. But this is where everybody comes together by and large, and that is the outcome. And the thing that I perhaps appreciate the most about Trump and like the most is, to Patrick Ruffini's point, the maximalist confrontation with the Democrats. This gets back to Patrick Ruffini's piece. By fully waging the culture war, Trump effectively ended a destructive Republican civil war. As part of the peace deal, he extended amnesty to members of the establishment who pledged personal fealty to him, and even some who didn't. Mitt Romney and Ben Sasse got presidential endorsements in their Senate races. The axis of confrontation in Republican primaries shifted from conservative Tea Party versus Rhino to Trump versus anti-Trump, and eventually MAGA versus non-MAGA. And there was a dirty little secret in all of this. Anyone could become MAGA by declaring loyalty to Trump. That included moderates like Lindsey Graham, who have long been in conservative crosshairs simply by refraining from overt Trump criticism. The establishment now is safer than ever, backstopped by the all-powerful Trump endorsement. For most elected officials, Trump loyalty was a small price to pay for continuing in public service. And then what did Donald Trump do, and what did he get all the Republicans to do, even those who don't particularly like Trump? To fight the Democrats on every front. Maximum confrontation. Trump has satiated the Republican voters' desire for someone who would do what they would do from behind the Resolute desk. From immigration to TARP to tiptoeing around the left's advance in the culture wars, Republican presidents and Congresses did the opposite of what their voters wanted. Imagine if Kamala Harris came into office with a sweeping capital gains tax cut as one of her main legislative priorities because her advisors told her she needed to shore up business in the tech bros. That's exactly how Republican rank-and-file Republicans felt about immigration. By earning the trust of his voters on the issues that mattered most to them, Trump united the Gordian knot of Republican division. And his rhetorical and stylistic boldness made Republican voters more forgiving when he didn't even get everything he wanted. He's fighting the Democrats on the size of government. He's fighting the Democrats on spending. He's fighting the Democrats on transgenderism. He's fighting the Democrats on abortion. He's fighting the Democrats on immigration. He's fighting the Democrats on being the piggy bank of the world. He's fighting the Democrats on every single thing, every single front, all at once. It's everything, everywhere, all the time, right now, immediately. It wears people out. But he's put the Democrats on such a defensive, they don't even know how to respond. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And there are people who get frustrated. I get frustrated with it. I'm willing to say, this is something I don't like. I like the outcome, but I think he should go about it a different way. Or I'm not sure this is the best outcome. Like, I don't think tariffs are a long-term good idea. I'm with Reagan on that. But I love that he has discombobulated the Democrats in such a way that they don't even know how to respond. Again, the market fell yesterday, and it's not just a one-day fall. The market has been trending down for a month now. And the Democrats are focused on transgenderism and pro-Hamas sympathizers and defending the vandals burning Tesla dealerships. The Democrats don't know how to respond to Donald Trump. They don't know how to respond to Elon Musk. They've made Musk the bad guy. In fact, they're attacking Musk so vociferously, they've given Donald Trump a pass to a degree. They're so busy making Elon Musk the bad guy that they don't have time to make Donald Trump the bad guy, and this is why Trump's popularity has maintained itself since the election. It's starting on economic matters to trend down. In fact, there's polling out today that shows that he's got like a +5 public approval support on the border and a -11 on the economy right now. That's a warning sign for the GOP because at the end of the day, it's the economy, stupid, and it always is. And if you mess up the economy, you're going to get blamed. But right now, he's got a lot of wiggle room. And because the Democrats are so distracted, as I explained earlier, the president has a long runway to sort out the economy. You get tax cuts are going to help the economy rebound. They're going to do the opposite of what the reason the tariffs are causing the problem is not the tariffs per se. It's because of the haphazard hokey pokey that seems to be going on. Are we going to have them? Or are we not? What's the rate? The rate's going to be pulled back, who they're going to be against, or whatnot. But with the tax cuts, they're in the tax law, and so they're defined, they're accountable, they're measurable, and people can work around them or work towards them. And that level of stability is going to help Trump. That level of stability is going to help rebound the economy. And that level of stability is going to be something Republicans can wrap around them for the midterms if they get to it quickly. But the GOP in Congress has got to get a move on these tax cuts. They are sabotaging Donald Trump by their slow pace. I'm not going to not voice criticism. But I think any criticism of the president does have to be tempered with the fact that he's got the Democrats on defense everywhere, and they don't know how to respond. If I were a Democrat strategist like James Carville, and by the way, Carville is doing this, he would be telling the Democrats, drop all the culture stuff. It's the economy, stupid. And the Democrats can't help themselves. The reason the Democrats can't help themselves is because so many people who care about the economy sided with Donald Trump. The Democrats' base is full of these culture warriors on the left. Notice, by the way, how they use culture warrior as a pejorative to the right. It's always us who are the culture warriors, and we're the ones just standing put saying, no, we don't want to change. And somehow we're the warriors. We're not the ones ever advancing on culture. We've preserved the previous status quo. It's the Democrats who are fighting on trans issues and gay rights issues and you name the culture issue. It's the left that's advancing. It's the left that's the warrior, not the right. And yet we're somehow portrayed as the bad guys because they control so many cultural institutions. And now Trump is even coming for those cultural institutions and getting them to walk back a lot of their progressive partisanship. We'll get into that in the next hour. There's a lot to be glad of when you see this. But the bottom line is the reason Donald Trump has a lot of people who may not personally care for him, but they're willing to defend him, is because they appreciate his strategy of maximum confrontation of the left. He's fighting them on every front, possible right now in putting points on the board because no Republican has done that before. No Republican has been willing to do that. They've always wanted to thread the needle. Trump doesn't care about threading the needle. He wants to blow it all up. And given the size and scope of the federal government, I am totally fine with blowing it all up. It needs to be. It's too big. Americans for Prosperity is advocating for common sense conservative reforms across the board, including scaling back the government and getting the tax cuts. They'd love to have you on board. They are, in fact, the largest leading grassroots organization in the country, and they happen to be on the right. If you go to protectprosperity.com today, you can sign up with AFP and get involved in the tax cut fight. You'll be able to reach out to your member of Congress, tell your member of Congress you want them on board the president's tax cuts. You'll be able to shape the opinion of members of Congress and also your neighbors and get your neighbors involved. Americans for Prosperity makes you a deeply committed, effective advocate for common sense conservative reforms, from school choice to parental rights to small business deregulation to now the tax cuts. Go to protectprosperity.com today. Sign up with Americans for Prosperity. They'll keep you the most informed person in your circle of friends. They'll get you engaged in the fight for tax cuts, and they'll make it easy for you to contact Congress to get Congress on board. ProtectProsperity.com is the website. ProtectProsperity.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1251, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Some brake lights, 285 westbound, on and off out of Sandy Springs into Cobb from Riverside Drive as you approach I-75. If you're heading out of Buckhead into Midtown, left lane construction continues. 400 southbound, the ramp to I-85 southbound. Also jammed up East Atlanta both ways. Ponce de Leon Avenue, east and westbound, slow right around Clifton Road. You got paving blocking one lane in each direction there. That's going to cause delays. You might want to think about DeKalb Avenue as an alternate. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, Belinda here with Dr. Ashraf from Atlanta Vision Institute to talk about a new procedure, permanent contact lenses. This is a game changer, isn't it, Dr. Ashraf?
It is for some people. This is an implantable Collamer lens. It's been around for a while, but this new technology is amazing. This is really good for people who in the past weren't candidates for LASIK. And remember, LASIK's been around for over 20 years. Technology is always advancing. So this lens is a quick procedure. We do it in the office. Vision recovers very quickly. You're back to work the next day. LASIK, it causes an inducement of dry eyes. This does not.
Ooh.
And unlike your contacts, there's no maintenance on this. There is nothing. You get up and go. It is permanent now. In the future, if you do need to remove it, we can remove it.
Oh, that's tremendous. Folks, is this something you're interested in to better your vision? Go to lensatlanta.com. That's LENS Atlanta.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Join Eric's Army of Activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Guess what? There is good news. There's very good news out there you may not have heard about, although I suspect it's going to be breaking through soon. Here's my friend Brooke Rollins on Fox News. Now, what is she? She's the Secretary of Agriculture now. I've known Brooke for years. She was the head of the Texas Public Policy Foundation. Glad to see her inside the Trump administration
today, and it's likely that the prices will go back up. We're moving into the highest price egg season without avian bird flu, and that's because Easter's right around the corner. But recently, I think just a couple of days ago, the price of eggs is coming down, and we believe that is in reaction. The market has reacted to our plan that we rolled out on February 26th, just about a week and a half ago, that the prices have come down on average about $1.85 per dozen eggs.
So it was always stupid of the Democrats to try to pin the price of eggs on Donald Trump, in large part because it was the Biden administration that ordered the killing of like 15 million chickens in the country, egg-laying chickens, to get rid of the avian flu. So the avian flu, not only can it wind up in eggs and possibly be transmitted to humans, the way to beat it is you kill the herds. You kill the infected flocks of birds to prevent its spread, and that's what the Biden administration did. Guess what? You know what the Trump strategy is? One, importing eggs from other countries at a time of tariffs, which is kind of funny. But two, wait for the new chicks to grow up and lay eggs. And guess what has happened? We are at the point where the new chicks are old enough to start laying eggs, and they've begun to lay the eggs to offset the loss of the old chickens that died. This isn't hard stuff. And the Democrats decided to make this a real big issue against Donald Trump, that Donald Trump bad, egg prices high, Donald Trump to blame. And now guess what? We have more chickens laying eggs, and the prices have already come down. By the way, Brooke Rollins is right. Easter egg hunts and the like, people are going to be going out buying eggs for that. You know, I've never dyed Easter eggs with my kids. Does that make me a bad parent that my kids and I have never dyed Easter eggs together? My wife was never a big fan of it. I used to do it as a kid. We may have to do that just for the sake of it. My kids are good artists. But nonetheless, egg prices going back down because there are now more chickens laying eggs than there were 3 months ago. And I guess we give credit to Donald Trump, since the Democrats were giving him blame. What's fair is fair. It's his to credit that egg prices are coming down. This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're growing your business, need $250,000 or more, and need a new lender, go to FirstLibertyGA.com. See if they can help you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers. I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. New this hour, economic concerns are forcing a lot of people to cut back on air travel. Alex Stone has more.
Delta and other airlines say Americans are quickly cutting back their spending on travel. Coming out of the pandemic, travel spending was at record levels, but now Delta is slashing its first quarter earnings and revenue outlook, saying uncertainty over the U.S. economy is negatively impacting demand to travel domestically. Airlines say because of pessimism over the economy and after several recent plane crashes, consumers, companies, and the government have cut back on booking air travel.
And speaking of air travel, big changes coming to Southwest Airlines.
For the first time in its history, Southwest will begin charging for checked bags for all flyers other than select members who pay more. Industry analyst Henry Hartevelt says the airline is self-destructing.
These changes destroy Southwest's 54 years of putting customers first and providing the best value in the sky.
But the airline insists the move is needed to increase its bottom line. The change takes effect in late May, in time for summer travel season. It comes as Southwest cuts flights into and out of Atlanta by a third in a separate cost-cutting move. Judd Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
All right, your weather for today. I hope you get a chance to get out and enjoy it. It's going to be sunny and warm, highs around 73, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens officially kicking off his re-election campaign, touting the accomplishments during his first term.
We've really done some great work and got a lot of things done, and we want to continue that.
Dickens has $1.3 million on hand for his campaign so far. As of now, no one else has announced plans to run against him. Gainesville police arrest a man who they say posed as a high school football recruiter. Authorities say that Malcolm Walker charged somebody more than $1,000 for airfare and game entries, promising to get the victim's son in front of recruiting personnel at the University of Colorado. Gainesville police say there are possibly more victims. They're asking anybody who may be a victim to come forward. And there may be a biological reason why the opioid crisis affects men disproportionately more than women. A study of rats by Washington University School of Medicine finds estrogen in women helps balance the amount of dopamine released when somebody takes fentanyl. This means men release more dopamine when using opioids, which can make the drugs more addictive. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's down 650 at 41,261. So the Dow's down more than 1.5%. Nasdaq's down almost a full percent, and the S&P's down more than a full percent. It's 102.
Have you ever really thought about the service companies you use? If you don't already have an HVAC company, let me save you some time. For almost 30 years, Ragsdale has been knowledgeable, friendly, and on time. I know you can trust Ragsdale to take care of all of your HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs. Quality work at a fair price and a 4.9 Google rating. Some of Ragsdale's employees have been with them for almost 30 years. That's trusted work right there. There's no time like now before spring arrives. Schedule at RagsdaleAir.com. Ragsdale, the name I know you can trust.
Time to paint the house again? Are you tired of shelling out all that money every 5 years?
Hey, it's Jeff and Roxanne, proud and local owners of Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's exterior coating will last you 25 years, improve your home's curb appeal, and is backed by a 25-year warranty.
So delete your painter from your contact list for good. Get a free estimate at RhinoShieldGA.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Beaver Direct certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person, a state-of-the-art website and mobile app, and kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive rates in the market. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at Coosa Valley Credit Union.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still seeing some volume heading out of Buckhead into Midtown with a left lane construction on 400 southbound, the ramp to I-85 southbound. Once you get into downtown, on and off the brakes, 75-85 southbound from 17th Street down to North Avenue. We have been dealing with a midday construction in DeKalb County, I-20 eastbound, just past Wesley Chapel Road. That's been in the left lane, but luckily delays not too bad as you make the commute out toward Lithonia. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 73, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 75. Thursday, cloudy skies with hit or miss rain showers, a rumble of thunder possible, high 68.
All right, enjoy today because the weekend we could have some severe weather, severe thunderstorms Saturday evening into Sunday morning, says WSP meteorologist Christina Edwards. So you'll want to be sure and stay with us for that. 67 degrees in Stockbridge and Ackworth. Johns Creek has 66, and it is 64 degrees here in Midtown Atlanta. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if, my friends, you would like to be more a part of the show, you can text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 and get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, the social media links, everything you need to stay plugged in. I'm going to switch gears a little bit from what I was going to talk about because I think this is actually more important. I am not an economist. I want this out of the gate. I'm not an economist. However, I do talk to economists, and I do know the basics. I did take economics in college, and it was related to the business law classes that I took. So I can explain the basics to you and the importance of what's happening with some of what's going on. First of all, so the S&P 500 is now on pace for the worst week that it has had since the year 2022. The Dow is actually on a losing streak, and Treasury yields are suddenly rising, and that's more relevant. That's more relevant. Why? In order to induce individuals to invest in U.S. Treasuries, you have to pay them an interest rate that incentivizes their investment. See, the U.S. is pretty stable. We are known for our full faith and credit clause in our Constitution, and also the ability of the U.S. to pay our debt. We're not going to go bankrupt as a nation. Your taxes will go up in order to meet the debt service payments of the United States. And what are the debt service payments? Well, debt is the Treasury bond. When you buy a bond from the Treasury Department, you're giving the government the money to run the government. And when the government, which always has a deficit, needs more debt, they issue more bonds. But over time, there are so many bonds and the nation looks a little bit unstable, the yield goes up. That is, the interest rate paid to people goes up. For every, I don't hold me to this, but I think I remember right, for every quarter point that a bond goes up, it's $3 billion more a year that the government pays in interest. The 10-year bond is back over 4.25%. Now, listen, this is a very good investment for people who are on fixed income. If you invest, now I'm doing this in my head because I'm bad when it comes to math. But if you were to buy $100,000 worth of bonds with a 4% interest rate, that's what, $4,000 a year? You put in $1 million, that's $40,000 a year. If it gets up to 5%, it becomes $50,000 a year. You put in $1 million, you buy $1 million in bonds, and it's 5% yield. Well, then that's $50,000 a year, guaranteed, tax-free, by the way. I believe the interest rate on no, that's wrong. But it's $50,000 before taxes. And by the way, it's stable. It's guaranteed. The U.S. government is not going to default on it. Your dividend payment from a corporation, like I own stock in Apple. Apple pays a small dividend. I reinvest my dividend. It grows the number of shares I have in Apple. But that dividend is going to go up. It's going to go down. You buy a Treasury bond at a 5% interest rate. You're going to get 5% for the duration of that bond. A 10-year bond, you're going to get 5%. It's a great investment because the United States pays its debt and is guaranteed to pay its debt. But there's also a problem. The more debt we have, the more our tax revenue actually goes to paying the debt, not to paying for education, not to paying for the military, not to paying for social services, not to paying any of the rest of it. And as it becomes more and more unstable, more and more people get a little squeamish about buying government debt, and the bond yield goes higher, the interest rate goes higher, which means the government now has even less to spend on everything else, and that's a problem. It's one of the reasons that what Doge is doing, what Donald Trump is doing, is a good thing and a necessary thing, cutting the fat out of the federal government. My buddy Ben Domenech, I don't have this audio for you, but was on Bret Baier last night, and he got into it with Jessica Tarlov, and Ben was saying basically, bring on a government shutdown, and we'll see what Doge can do. The amount of people that Doge will be able to, the jobs they'll be able to cut, the waste they'll be able to cut if there's a government shutdown is actually a good thing. And then let Congress ratify it in reconciliation, and so it can't come back. We've got to trim the government. We have to trim the government because the amount of money that's going to just service the debt right now is absurd. And it's limiting our ability to build up our military. This is Elon Musk, who was talking to Larry Kudlow about this particular topic. There was an interview, I guess it was on Fox Business with Larry Kudlow just the other day, talking about the interest rates.
Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments to national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. And that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but yeah, you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we got to do something. This is Russ Vogt, who was talking. I guess he was also, or is this part of Elon? Yeah, this is Russ Vogt. Same interview, Larry Kudlow, but this is Russ.
Well, we're going to use all of our executive tools to make those savings permanent. We can use rescissions. The president ran on impoundment. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that those are not merely something that goes on a website, but becomes permanent. And we're going to be able to do that. And we'll work with Congress to do it, but we're also been aware of the extent to which Congress has had a hard time passing cuts of any magnitude. And so what we want to do is everything we can to use presidential tools to bank those savings home.
So good. We've got to, because here's the other side, and this gets to Trump supporters on reordering the economy, and this is the most crucial thing that you need to understand. The more people are investing in government bonds, the less they're investing in stock. The more they're investing in the public sector, the less they're investing in the private sector. So to the point of reordering our society and why what's happening with the cuts are good, and this is something I need everybody to pay attention to, and Philip, you can cut this out and put it all over social media. For every dollar that's spent on a government bond, that's a dollar not spent invested in the private sector. You reduce the size and scope of the federal government and the public sector, you naturally increase the private sector. Money wants to move to an investment. The most stable investment right now is a federal treasury paying over 4% for the 10-year bond. You reduce the size and scope of the federal government, suddenly the money's got to go somewhere other than the federal government, so it goes into the private sector. And what happens? Instead of the government growing, the private sector grows. So all of the offsets right now in a decline in the stock market are offset by the investment in the private sector that comes naturally from the government shrinking. Think of a balloon, and you squeeze the balloon in the middle and both sides inflate. That's not the way it works with investment right now. It's one side of the balloon or the other, the private sector side or the public sector side. You reduce down one by applying pressure to shrink one side, you're growing the other. Investments in growing the government naturally shrink the private sector. So you apply pressure to shrink the public sector, you're growing the private sector naturally. It's a good investment, and it offsets all the declines in the stock market we're seeing right now. Simply reducing the size and scope of the federal government naturally, inherently grows the private sector. Right now, the public sector is what's growing. The public sector is drowning out the private sector, not just in cost and debt, but also in regulation. So you deregulate, you cut the size and scope of government. Money wants to go somewhere to grow. Where is it going to go? It's going to go to the private sector. It's going to grow the private sector. It's going to create jobs. Tariffs are a distraction from everything else happening to reduce the size and scope of the federal government so that the private sector will grow. As long as you understand that dynamic, you can understand where Elon Musk is headed. He understands this as a business person. One more from Elon Musk with Larry Kudlow.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. But I think we're doing the right thing here. There's been a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. When you're part of the government, you saw a lot of that, and there's been. If you look at the Inspector General reports and the Government Accountability Office, there have been many audits that have pointed out that there's a tremendous amount of waste and fraud in the government. In fact, there was a report issued by the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, last year. So during the Biden administration, which estimated the federal government fraud to be $500 billion. So just to be clear, that's not a Trump administration thing, that's a Biden administration thing. So what we're trying to do is get that number down to a much smaller figure, save money for the American taxpayer, stop money being spent on things that I think very few taxpayers would agree make sense. Transgender animal surgeries, or why are we spending money? Why are American tax dollars being spent on this?
He's right. Now, waste, fraud, and abuse only gets you so far. Elon Musk thinks maybe we can find $1 trillion or so. You still have to actually apply real cuts, and this is the problem with the Republicans in Congress. Where are you going to cut? Where are you going to cut? You have to cut stuff. By the way, you know what happens? If you cut stuff now in the federal government, and you reduce the federal government, you grow the private sector. And then what happens? You increase tax revenue to the federal government. Why? As the private sector grows, it increases income. That income is taxed. As it's increased, there's more tax revenue available to go into the government to do what? Not to spend, but to get closer to not having a deficit, get closer to a balanced budget. You increase the revenue generated by the private sector, you tax it at the rate that it's currently taxed, 20% for companies. Well, you have a larger amount to tax at 20%, which brings more money into the government, not to spend on new things, but to actually close the deficit, balance the budget, and then what happens? You begin to bring down the national debt. This isn't hard. What's hard is having the will to do it. And having Donald Trump fighting the Democrats on every front at the same time, throwing them off their game, unable and unsure of what to grab hold of and push back on, it keeps the Democrats off message. It provides the GOP a very easy way to, through maximum confrontation with the Democrats, actually balance the budget, which we need to do.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Stalled dump truck just found it on the jam cam. It's in the right center lane, 7585 southbound at North Avenue, exit 249. That's slowing up the ride through Midtown. Before you get there out of Buckhead, you still have that left lane construction on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound. Don't forget about the paving on Ponce de Leon Avenue in both directions around Clifton Road, jamming up the ride in both directions there. And a crash clearing from the right shoulder in Norcross, 85 southbound near Jimmy Carter. This report brought to you by John Foy and Associates, personal injury law firm. If you've been hurt on the job, call John Foy and Associates today. Navigating the laws of workers' comp is not something you should take on alone. John Foy and Associates knows Georgia workers' comp laws. Call their team today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
Your baby is ugly.
Eric Von Haessler has an opinion.
I abhor violence. Unless it's on the football field, where it belongs.
And some advice.
A meme coin, of course, something I don't really understand. Don't ever buy one. There you go. I just gave you some great advice.
Eric Von Haessler, today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
With our weather extremes, I wanted windows that would stand the test of time. Hi, it's meteorologist Glenn Burns, and I found them. I love my Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows. I was blown away. They're energy efficient and incredibly durable, 8 times stronger than vinyl, so they last. Experience the fiberglass difference in your home or in their new Alpharetta showroom.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
It only happens once a year. It's always fun. It's our signature sign and drive event. All you got to do is sign and drive with no money down and no payments for 90 days. Plus, at Beaver Toyota, you'll receive exclusive Beaver benefits with your new car. Benefits like no-charge oil changes and car washes. And yes, even complimentary loaner cars and a lifetime powertrain warranty. It's our annual Sign and Drive event. Now, this is the way car buying should be. Only at Beaver Toyota. We're here to wow you.
Has that paint on your house reached the point of surrender? You really can't put it off another year, right?
It's Jeff and Roxanne, local owners of Rhino Shield. Let Rhino Shield help you with a solution that'll make this the last time you paint.
Rhino Shield ceramic coating will last you 25 years, improve your home's curb appeal, and comes with a 25-year warranty.
Get a free estimate at rhinoshieldga.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
There aren't many things more precious than your engagement ring. The start of your love story, a symbol of your commitment that you get to treasure every day. Have you ever thought about breathing new life into that ring? At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, we're bringing the most exclusive names in engagement and wedding ring design to you with their full assortments. Come to D. Geller & Son for the ultimate ring shopping experience next weekend, March 21st through 23rd in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit ConsumerCellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or ConsumerCellular.com today. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, would be very happy to have you. Let me go to Pierce's call here. Pierce, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. Hey, first, before I do my comment, I just got to give you a big thank you for your advice on tariffs. My wife and I needed new desktops. Guess where we got ours?
Oh, excellent. Well, you certainly beat the tariffs in doing them. You saved yourself some money.
Yes. And Ruby was awesome. She listened to the needs, fixed our computers individually, got them home, couldn't get the printer to work, called the tech service. A guy named Sam answered on the third ring. In less than 10 minutes, the printer's working. So shout out. I like truth in advertising. Yeah.
VisionComputers.com.
That's it. And so I like honesty in advertising. I like honesty in government, too. And I'm thinking, Trump over the weekend twice told reporters, we're gonna have a recession. We're going to go in a recession. It's going to hurt for a minute. After we've been told everything was good, even though we knew it wasn't good economically for 4 years, along with the news media and the administration, it's a breath of fresh air to hear the president say, yeah, this is going to happen, but it'll be short. It's not going to hurt us for long, and then you're going to see we're going to come out of it, we're going to be strong, and we're going to be better, and our economy is going to be strong. I would prefer that in honesty than have somebody blowing smoke up my you-know-what.
I'm glad you say that, Pierce, because I kind of do think this is a winning strategy for Donald Trump to explain to people in a very straightforward way that, listen, the economy is going to get a little rocky, and here's why. We're trying to shrink the public sector. So much of the private sector has been dependent on the public sector, and we want to redirect this growth to the private sector. If government shrinks, the private sector grows. It's going to be a little rough for a few months, but we're going to get through it together, and we're going to be stronger on the other side. But we have been using government to prop up something that wasn't otherwise stable. I think if he did that, it would be a winning formula.
Yeah, and that's what Reagan did. He shrunk government, deregulated, and the economy took off. We had a bump for a couple of years. It was tough because I had a young family. I was a young man. I had 4 kids and a wife, and I was the only one working. Mm-hmm. And So it was a tough bit on, pinching it together for a couple of years, but then the economy just, broke loose and we had a run for 25 years.
And Pierce, I got to let you go there, but you're right. We could do it again. You just need to be straightforward with us. I'll be straightforward with y'all until you go to Eden Pure Thunderstorms, EdenPureDeals.com, and get your Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Just like, Pierce was talking about vision with Eden Pure, you get what you pay for. You get a small air purifier that packs a wallop, and it will wipe out odors in your house. It generates ozone. Ozone is known to lock onto the ions that are odor particles. Have you ever noted where an odor comes from? An odor is an ion particle. It's a charged particle that floats in the air that gets into your nose and touches your nerve receptors, and your brain processes it as a smell. Well, ozone latches onto those charged particles with a reverse charge and wipes them out, and that's the genius of the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Odors can't stand up to it. And it also gets rid of pet dander and pollen and dust and bacteria and viruses, and you can get 3 of them for less than $200, and you save $200 by going to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather, traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Atlanta police say the man caught on camera slashing tents at a homeless encampment on Wheat Street is now under arrest. 42-year-old David Barnett, also known as Da Vinci, was taken into custody today while at the Fulton County Courthouse for an unrelated case. He was identified by members of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Barnett facing 7 counts of criminal damage to property and 1 count of reckless conduct. Barnett works as a security guard in the area. He is not affiliated with Atlanta Police. Your weather for today, beautiful sunny skies and 73 this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. An apartment building in Union City is badly damaged in a fire. Residents telling Channel 2 Action News it was a scary situation this morning.
So I woke up to all the alarms in my house going off all at once. I shot up, awake. I got out of my bed and I walked to the living room to see what was going on. And when I walked into the living room, there was smoke coming out from the floor. It was coming out from the front door. It was coming out from the walls.
Investigators are trying to determine how that fire at the Evergreen Commons Apartments on Highway 138 started. The top floor of that building destroyed. Everybody got out safely. President Trump says he's going to double his planned tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25% to 50% for Canada. This trade escalation comes in response to the 25% tariff on electricity sold to the United States. Economist Gus Fouché.
I view these tariffs more as bargaining chips than as something that we would expect to see over the longer run. But it is a case that the uncertainty makes it difficult for businesses and consumers to make a decision.
And the markets are reacting. It's been a bad day on Wall Street all day. The Dow's down 713 points at 41,197. So the Dow's down almost 2%. NASDAQ's down more than 1%. The S&P's down almost 1.5%. It's 132.
It's Eric. Are you thinking of adding value to your house, or just you want more convenience and more comfort in your kitchen? Frugal Kitchens can get you one of those $1 million home kitchens at a fraction of the cost. They want to talk to you about how you can go through their process, get your new dream kitchen up and going, and you can be cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get 18 months no interest financing available. It's what Christy and I have done. Life happens in your kitchen, and Frugal Kitchens can put you in a great one. FrugalKitchens.com.
Are you facing a fork in the road and deciding between continuing your career and retirement? I'm Wes Moss, host of Money Matters, and this massive life decision shouldn't be taken lightly. Talk with my team if you'd like help reviewing your retirement accounts and building a financial plan. We can help you review options and offer an opinion based on your best interests. You can find us at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health, and I think it's real important to talk about what is most likely to kill you. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and the older we get, the more prevalent it is. But you can reduce your risk. Eat right, don't smoke, exercise, and be informed about what's going on in your own body. Like lots of potentially serious health problems, if you catch heart disease early, you vastly increase your chances of living a longer life. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease. Other scans, including brain and full body, are available too. Virtual imaging is locally owned and operated in Atlanta for over 15 years, so they can make you this terrific offer. A complimentary heart scan for you and your spouse with a few minimum requirements. So don't put this off. I've done it. Call Virtual Imaging today for your free heart scan. 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-7226. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Just like your car, your septic system needs regular maintenance. Hi, I'm Shannon, the owner of Scorpion Septic. If you're seeing bubbles in your toilet, pooling in your yard, slow draining, or your toilet won't flush, you need Scorpion Septic.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Call for more information. ScorpionSepticServices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Better news in downtown. Stalled dump truck cleared out of the center lane, 75-85 southbound North Avenue, exit 249, but still slow on 75 south and 85 south coming to their merging point. Left lane construction continues on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound, causing those delays from Lennox Road out of Buckhead. And you got left lane construction on the I-285 ramps to I-20 eastbound into Cobb County, causing some merging madness there as you try to make the trek out toward Lithonia. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today and warm, high 73.
We'll have more news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Erick Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you wish to be on the program, very happy to have you. I wanna well, let's see. Yeah. It says, you've heard the story now, I guess, about the two ships in the North Sea that collided. There are all sorts of questions about those ships colliding, and in particular, how on earth could something like that happen? I think that's listen, there are a lot of people like, is it intentional? And the early signs were that not sure that it is intentional, but when you get two boats sailing in the North Sea and they have a head-on collision to each other, it does raise all sorts of red flags about what actually happened. But that gets to something I wanted to talk about here. I saw this thread on social media. I want to give credit to John Arnold, who's the co-chair of Arnold Ventures, who put this thread up. And he actually is crediting Michael Cymbalist at J.P. Morgan for his annual review of the state of energy and climate. And I want to walk you through this because there's a point that needs to be made. So the speed at which solar power has won market share for power generation is unprecedented for any fuel in history. We're talking about solar share of global economic generation capacity is up to 62% of new gigawatts installed, which is massive. Despite making up 62% of added generation capacity in 2023, solar has less than 6% market share of global energy generation. So in other words, it's jumped 62% in added generation, but it's less than 6% of market generation. So part of the problem here is that decarbonization, as the left calls it, is hard. Why? Because solar power only works when the sun is shining. Wind only works when the wind is blowing. You've got to have base load capacity, which can be turned on at any time, which solar and wind cannot. Then there's something else here. There's been a massive spike in electric vehicle sales. But electric vehicles today account for only about 4.5% of vehicles on the road globally. Think about that. For all of the buzz about electric vehicles And there's been a massive, massive spike. So, for example, in 2024, 20% of vehicles sold in in the world, not just the United States, 20% were electric. But they only make up 4.5% of total vehicles on the road. And here's a big reason why. An internal combustion engine vehicle sold today is going to be on the road for over 20 years. That's not true for electric vehicles. Electric vehicles don't last as long as an internal combustion engine vehicle. One of the reasons why is because the batteries over time wear out. With an internal combustion engine vehicle, you can swap out the engine over time if you need to. You could swap out the batteries in the EV, but the EV swap is actually very expensive. So a lot of people who own EVs tend to be at higher income levels, and they just get a new car, and the old car gets recycled. That's not true with the internal combustion. And think about my father-in-law has his F-150 pickup truck that's like 30 years old, and it's still working. I mean, man, you can get in an F-150. I was passed the other day by an old Chevy Silverado that was decades old, and the F-150 has been on the road forever. I'm not opposed to, and I don't object to you having an electric vehicle. And a lot of people get very, very defensive. Because I'm not criticizing you with your electric vehicle. My CFO for my company, who is 3 doors down from me in my office building, has a Tesla. He loves it. He traded in an F-150 for his Tesla. Loves it. God bless you. But most people don't live in an urban environment with easy access to charging in the way that many people do in urban areas. If you're in rural parts of the country, it's much harder to do. And then there gets into the issue of farm equipment as well. The combines, the harvesters, the tractors, the plows. You don't want those to be battery because of the amount of charging it takes to get them fully functional when you can just fill it up with diesel and go. Utility scale battery storage is exploding around the world. 70 gigawatts of power. Now, this is real big. What is battery storage? Well, when let's say you produce a bunch of solar power or wind power, the sun is shining brightly, the wind is blowing hard, you produce excess capacity that's not needed immediately on the power grid, it goes to waste unless you can store it in a battery somewhere, and there actually are more and more companies building these massive, massive batteries that can hold the excess power and throw them into the power grid. So, for example, all the excess solar that's made during the day, and then it is put in a battery, and at night it goes out to the power grid. Natural gas, however, is gaining more market share of total energy consumption than renewables. So while renewable energy is on the rise, coal is on decline, and nuclear power is plateaued, natural gas is increasing dramatically. And therein gets to the thing that I need to talk to you about. Transmission and pipelines. Here's the problem, and this is something the Trump administration, I think, is looking at. The Energy Secretary is taking seriously. Interstate pipelines have become almost impossible to permit. Developers have too much uncertainty about the process and the timing to even try. So there are fewer transmission lines and fewer pipelines being built in this country. In 2020, let's go back to 2019. In 2019, there were a total of, 30 pipeline projects in the country. Go back to 2014, there were 35 pipeline projects in the country. Now, that's combined petroleum projects, hydrocarbon gas, liquids, and crude oil and condensate. You have multiple different things flowing through the pipelines, all related to energy. In 2019, there were 30 pipeline projects completed in this country. Do you know how many there are scheduled for completion in this country last year? 2. So my house sits on a natural gas pipeline easement in my backyard. So I've got a big backyard. I'm on a half acre. Have a big backyard. It's a long rectangular lot, and in the back third of the property is a cleared easement under which is a natural gas pipeline. And Kinder Morgan sent my wife and me a very nice letter a couple weeks ago and said, we're going to be in your backyard exploring adding pipeline capacity. And the rule of thumb these days is that it is easier for a pipeline company to expand an existing easement than to build something new. Even though the world has evolved, even though people live in different places, even though the needs are different, it's a lot easier to just build on existing capacity because those lots are already cleared. You don't have to worry about buildings being on top of them. But even those have slowed down. Now, this is a somewhat boring esoteric topic, I realize it, but here's the problem. We need more energy in this country. And one of the things the left has done over time, very intentionally, is scale back our ability to create energy in this country. So I want to put this in perspective for everyone. This is very important perspective. I and other people who believe in free markets disagree with Donald Trump on tariffs because economically tariffs are a bad policy that cause protectionism at home, which increase market inefficiencies, which tend to distort markets, which tend to prop up sectors of the economy that inevitably become more and more inefficient and actually slow economic growth. Tariffs economically, historically, slow economic growth. But you know what else slows economic growth? A lack of power. And while the left is complaining about Donald Trump's tariffs, it is the left that has been complicit in this country for the last 30 years in slowing our energy production to do exactly what free marketeers say the tariffs will do. The left have been, by design, slowing our economy and reducing our ability to produce a robust economy because the left intentionally, in the name of saving the planet, has caused us to scale back our energy. We do not build pipelines in this country. We do not build transmission lines in this country. We do not build nuclear power plants in this country. We do not build baseload power in this country. The left wants us to go completely reliant on solar and wind, which are not baseload capacity because you have to have the wind blowing or the sun shining to get power from them. At night, when the wind is not blowing, you cannot use them. That's why you need base load power. The left doesn't even want us to build hydroelectric dams in this country because there's a frog or a snail somewhere that might be impacted by it. Well, all these people who are complaining about Donald Trump from the left on tariffs actually privately, I think, probably like them because economically they're designed to slow the economy. That's what a tariff does. Over time, it slows the economy. The left should be cheering on the tariffs. In fact, it's not a coincidence that up until Donald Trump wanted them, it was the socialist left that wanted tariffs. The left only hates tariffs because Donald Trump's advocating for them right now. They've long favored it because economically, statistically, tariffs slow an economy. The left wants to slow the economy, and so what the left has decided to do is to attack our power supply in this country. They've made it virtually impossible to build a new pipeline. They've made it impossible to expand a pipeline. They've made it impossible to run new transmission lines. They've made it impossible to build nuclear power plants. They've made it impossible to build new coal-fired power plants. You know, while our electric generation by coal is reducing dramatically in this country, in fact, we use less coal than Europe or India or China or all of Asia. We use less coal than any of the rest of the world. But you know what's remarkable? In China, the amount of coal-fired power plants is increasing. Why are the amount of coal power plants in China increasing? Because in China, they recognize that they got to have power. China emits more greenhouse gases on a per capita basis. The United States is nearly twice that of China, but both sides of the climate debate are choosing their data to try to smear the other. The reality is this: China emits overwhelmingly more greenhouse gas than any other country on an absolute basis. Per capita, yeah, we do. But per capita kind of misses the point because on an absolute basis, China is overwhelming the United States and Europe combined with greenhouse gas emissions related to coal power plants because China recognizes it's got to have as much energy as possible for the future. It's a national security issue. And in this country, the left has crippled our capacity. We can't build a new pipeline to transport natural gas across the country. We can't build new transmission lines to transmit electricity across the country. And we can't build new power plants in this country because the left, through regulation, has killed our capacity to do it. This is something else that Donald Trump has got to fix. This is something else he's really got 2 years to fix before the Democrats come back into power. And I would recommend to the Republicans, if you're going to tweak the Green New Deal through reconciliation, this process is something you've got to tweak in reconciliation to be able to make it easy to expand energy capacity in this country. It is necessary for our national security. It's not just the debt, it's our ability to produce energy to fund the future. China gets this. Our policymakers in Washington, D.C. have got to get this. The data shows the United States is falling behind on energy production in large part because of regulations that can easily be undone by Congress. There's a great economics class from Hillsdale College that spends some time on this. You should check it out. You get 40 classes for completely free at Hillsdale College by going to ericforhillsdale.com. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you sign up, start taking one of their great classes. They've got 40 to choose from on politics and history and philosophy and economics and chemistry and math and literature, even theology, and they're all great. They're all by some of the best professors at Hillsdale College. You spend time, do it at your own pace. Each class is broken down into essentially video chapters. You watch the video series. Some have 6, some have 12. It depends on the class. They're all about 30 minutes long. You do it at your own pace, and you find a subject you're interested in, and you build greater awareness and knowledge about that issue with Hillsdale College's finest faculty. It's ericforhillsdale.com. You're not going to pay a penny for it, and you're going to improve your mind. Hillsdale College has been doing this since 1833. They have a commitment to find Americans where they are and educate them to the best of their ability. That's Hillsdale's ongoing commitment since 1833. They have found you now through this radio program, and they want to give you an amazing opportunity completely for free. Just go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You will see what sets Hillsdale College apart. That is a unique, conservative educational institution. They do not indoctrinate, they educate. They love to have you. ericforhillsdale.com.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Looks like the left lane construction starting to wrap up for the day on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound, so those delays leaving Lennox Road should start to improve. Once you get past that, you'll be on and off the brakes. 75-85 southbound, sluggish through Midtown and downtown. And we've had left lane construction in DeKalb, 20 eastbound just past Wesley Chapel Road. That is well in the clearing stages. Traffic brought to you by Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi. Craving something fresh and flavorful? Discover Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi, high quality, affordable, and made fresh daily. Find Zinchi Sushi today at your local Publix markets right by the seafood counter. Alex Williams, 95.5 WUSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the Jam Cam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits is squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Some things get better with age, but not your home siding and windows. If your house is showing its age and needs a facelift, it's only going to get worse. New siding and windows are the perfect fix. Dave Baker here for my siding and window experts, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson Exteriors, you choose the window that's right for your home and budget from many top-rated manufacturers like Anderson and MI. And Nelson is a licensed and insured James Hardy Elite Preferred Siding contractor. For unmatched quality and craftsmanship, Google Nelson Exteriors.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. Spring cleaning is here. Let Artisan Custom Closets help you maximize your space and get organized. Artisan will work with you to design an affordable luxury custom closet where you'll be able to see all your accessories, clothes, and shoes without rummaging through the clutter. Don't use the pricey West Coast closet company that doesn't customize or the cheap closet companies with pushy salespeople and pricing games. Artisan Custom Closets, affordable luxury. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
I got to tell you all, I think I have finally just crossed the Rubicon on deciding I got to buy my producer an iPhone and let him have a work phone, because I just sent a group message and inevitably, for some reason, it decided to go to his phone instead of his laptop where he's actually paying attention. And now I got a green chat bubble developed into our group chat. And it's time to have to buy him an iPhone and have him use it for work, I guess. So he can be one of those nerds with two phones. All right, but nonetheless, that's all that all of my team listening, they need to check their text messages because I need their opinion on something. I can't tell y'all what it's about. I need their opinion on something. So Elon Musk has decided to call Mark Kelly, the former astronaut turned Arizona senator, a traitor. I'm concerned that Musk is getting out over his skis in ways he shouldn't, getting distracted in stuff. He had a Twitter fight with the foreign minister of Poland. He's not in charge of the government. Donald Trump is. And the left has, for a while, been pejoratively calling him President Musk and Donald Trump's a puppet. And Trump hasn't let it go. Hasn't let it go to his head, which is good. But I do think it's not helpful when Elon Musk, who is so tied to Donald Trump's agenda, is calling a United States senator a traitor because he went to Ukraine. Now, there are MAGA people who will defend it and saying, well, he's not, politics supposed to stop at the water's edge. Yeah, a long time ago, that's true. But we had Ted Kennedy trying to get the Soviets to interfere in the American election in 1984. We've had Republicans going abroad and trying to undermine Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and even Joe Biden in the past. We've had Democrats doing it to Republicans. This is the age we live in. Stop trying to be a purist all of a sudden on this. I just don't think it is helpful to the president's agenda to have Elon Musk calling a senator a traitor for going to Ukraine. I think it will blow back on the president, who is fighting on all fronts, and Elon Musk is now creating fronts that the president has to fight on that aren't on the president's choosing. Donald Trump has picked his fights, and Elon Musk is dragging him into new fights. And I'm just not sure that is that's a smart thing. I don't see how this is helpful to Donald Trump. I mean, they're not going to get Mark Kelly's vote on a lot of stuff. I get it, but calling a former astronaut and veteran of this country who's a sitting senator on the Armed Services Committee a traitor for going to Ukraine may scratch an itch for some people, but it's not really helpful to the President of the United States when, as a senator, Mark Kelly has the power, even with Republicans in charge, to put a hold on a lot of his agenda. Just not a smart thing for Musk to have done.
When you think of the great outdoors, do you ever think about your own backyard? Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? We turn backyards into great outdoor living areas. Imagine your home with a new, beautiful, and durable composite deck. Maybe with a relaxing screen porch, or maybe your family would enjoy a stone patio with a pergola to stargaze, or a covered open-air porch with a stunning tongue and groove ceiling. Add an outdoor fireplace, kitchen, or bar area for even more function and beauty. We can design and install your greatest outdoor adventure. And with Exovations, you'll get your project delivered on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Let's make your outdoors great again. Schedule your free quote today at exovations.com. That's EXOVATIONS.com.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. The man accused of slashing tents at a homeless camp in Atlanta is now under arrest.
Police say it was 42-year-old David Barnett who took some kind of sharp tool to tents in the old Wheat Street Northeast encampment. Investigators say Barnett works as a security guard at a nearby business. Police got a break when Barnett showed up at the Fulton County Courthouse for an unrelated case. It was there deputies recognized and arrested him. Barnett faces 7 criminal damage to property charges and 1 reckless conduct charge. No word yet on a motive. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
70 degrees in Atlanta. How many sunny days before the rain returns? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. A grueling wait for justice for the family of a Buckhead woman who was stabbed to death 2 weeks before Christmas in 2022.
It's been well over a year since the court signed off for the state to determine Antonio Brown's fitness to stand trial, yet it's still undone. His attorney says he needs Brown to help prepare his defense. Lawyer Lynn Borsick represents the family of victim Eleanor Bowles.
The family's really in distress about this.
Borsick says to her knowledge, the state has a 700-person backlog for mental competency exams.
Family would like for there to be a trial and for justice to be served in this matter.
A Fulton County judge signed an order to goose the state agency into getting Brown's psych eval done or risk contempt of court. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Residents escape after a Union City apartment building goes up in flames.
All I could see was fire and smoke, and then people were yelling at me, "Come out the house, get out the house, get out the house." I'm looking out, I'm like, what's going on?
A resident of the Evergreen Commons apartments talking to Channel 2 Action News at the scene. Everyone gets out safely. The top floor of the building is destroyed. Investigators trying to determine what started the fire. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens officially kicks off his re-election campaign today, touting the accomplishments during his first term.
We've really done some great work and got a lot of things done, and we want to continue that.
Dickens has $1.3 million on hand for his campaign so far. As of now, no one else has announced plans to run against him. As stocks take another dive today, the White House says the current numbers are a snapshot in time. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt reiterates President Trump's comment the economy is in a period of transition.
We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
At this hour, the Dow is down more than 500 points for the day. The S&P and NASDAQ are also down at this hour. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Bread Becker's. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
It's Eric. I don't know about y'all, but life happens in our kitchen. It's where we have our memories, our family time, our laughs. Well, you don't want a lot of downtime, but you may want to renovate your kitchen. You want one of those $1 million kitchen looks and get it at the fraction of the cost with Frugal Kitchens. They know that you've got plans for your kitchen, and they want to help you. And here's why I love them. They can have you cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get you 18 months no-interest financing. FrugalKitchens.com. That's where you want to check them out. FrugalKitchens.com.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person when you call or step in a branch. That means a state-of-the-art website and mobile app for you to access your money when you need it. That means offering a variety of account options to meet your family or business needs. And kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive auto, personal, home, and business loan rates in the market. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Experience kinder banking and stop in a Coosa Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Starting a business takes grit and fortitude, but to keep it going requires taking care of customers like family. That's our motto, and my family's been sticking to it for decades. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and you can count on Jape Services to provide quality care and price transparency for your home's heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. At Jape Services, we're a family-run business, and I personally guarantee to treat you like family as well. JapeServices.com.
Jape Services. Hey, it's Shelley Winter here for my good friends at PalmettoSleep.com. Let's talk about a serious business, sleep apnea. I suffer from it, and whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I have the solution. Palmetto Sleep is here to give you your life back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without a good night's sleep is simply no way to live. Palmetto Sleep offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Palmetto Sleep has all the doctors that you will need. Most appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue like I do. Visit PalmettoSleep.com now. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
It is now 2:05 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's Alex Williams.
Much better news out of Buckhead into Midtown Bill. The construction's cleared out of the left lane. 400 southbound, ramping to I-85 southbound, but heads up in Buckhead. WSB's own Smiley Mark McKay says big jam on Piedmont Road and Lennox Road in all directions at that interchange with construction. And up in Forsyth County, you've been dealing with a right lane crash on Georgia 400 northbound at Buford Drive. Exit number 14. That crash has been in the right lane, causing some delays just north of Highway 141. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 73, lows tonight in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high 75. Thursday, cloudy skies with hit or miss rain showers, a rumble of thunder possible, high 68.
Right now, 67 in Lawrenceville, 69 in Fairburn, also 69 in Dallas. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. If you text DATA, D-A-T-A, to 33777, you too can subscribe to the show notes. When the show starts, I send an email with all the links of all the stuff I'm talking about and then some. You'll notice, if you're a regular subscriber, how often I can't get to everything in the show notes because there's so much other stuff happening. Canada, this is breaking. Canada has decided to sell off its U.S. bonds. Interesting. I'm not sure what picking the fight with Canada really is all about, particularly when we actually export more manufactured goods to Canada than they export to us. I mean, I get not liking the Canadians. Have you tried poutine? But I'm not sure. In any event, the trade war is escalating. Here's one of the side ramifications of a trade war is that it makes people patriotic. And so you'll have a lot of Canadians willing to double down on hurt to themselves in order to make it painful for us, and that's one of the problems. Nonetheless, I want to talk about something else now. No reason to continue to talk about tariffs. I want to talk about, well, the great shutting up. The great shutting up is what I call the corporations and universities in America who have decided now that they can be quiet. They don't have to take an issue. They don't have to stand for something. They don't have to. They don't have to be vocal about everything. Polycarp. It's my favorite of the early Christian church fathers. Do you know you can take Polycarp and Ignatius and Clement, three of the earliest post-apostolic church fathers, and largely recreate most of the New Testament, pretty much all of the Gospels. They quoted so much. It's one of the reasons we know the authenticity of Scripture at the time, because these early church fathers quoted the apostolic letters from the apostles so much that we get a lot of the New Testament recreated by just a handful of men. Polycarp was the bishop of Smyrna. He was in southern Turkey. He is well traveled within the early church. He was notable for being a student of the Apostle John. In fact, we know that John wrote, for example, the book of Revelation. We know he wrote the Gospel of John and John 1, 2, and 3, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, because Polycarp, being a student of his, along with Ignatius, testified as to it and told us a lot of stories about John. And also that John had a lot of other stories about Jesus that weren't in the Bible. Polycarp ultimately got to be 86 years old. The Roman persecutions were renewed again. And in the reign of Marcus Aurelius, Polycarp was sent to his death. On the day of his death, he gave a very famous quote that was documented. 86 years I have served him, and he has done me no wrong. How then can I blaspheme my King and Savior? You threaten me with a fire that burns for a season and after a little while is quenched, but you are ignorant of the fire of everlasting punishment that is prepared for the wicked. He was begged by the local prelates, governors, and praetorians to burn incense to Marcus Aurelius, to treat Marcus Aurelius as a god, and he refused. He said he would not burn incense to the Roman emperor. So here's what he did. The Roman legion came to arrest Polycarp. He made them all dinner. He fed them all, prayed over them, and then went with them to be executed. He climbed into the funeral pyre. And the local Roman governor knew Polycarp, knew him to be so trusted, they didn't even tie him to the stake. As they lit the funeral pyre, the Romans recorded his last words. They were, I bless you, Father, for judging me worthy of this hour, so that in the company of the martyrs I may share the cup of Christ. And they lit the funeral pyre. And the witnesses claim that Polycarp would not burn. So they stabbed him through the heart to kill him. Later revisionists say they stabbed him through the heart as an act of mercy, so he wouldn't suffer the burning. The people who were there claimed that the fire would not ignite him, and he stood there surrounded by fire, and ultimately they had to stab him in the heart. Now, what does Polycarp have to do with any of this? One, I like telling the story. Polycarp is a great guy, but it's kind of relevant to this because Polycarp was asked by the Romans to just shut up about Jesus. Just shut up. Just stop talking about him. If you will just shut up, burn a little incense to the emperor. We know you haven't changed your mind, but just shut up about it and you'll live. And he said, nope, I gotta tell everybody. I have the path to eternal salvation. It is through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I gotta share the gospel. So they had to kill him because he wouldn't shut up. All they wanted him to do was to shut up. Religious people wish to talk. Religious people wish to tell you about the gospel. I got program directors across America who wish I would shut up about it. But if you're a believer, you want to share the gospel message. Now, here's the problem. Progressives have taken secularism into the religious realm. It's not enough that Target sell gender-affirming clothes. Target must run ad campaigns about it, or else they're insufficiently faithful to the new religion. In Louisville, Kentucky, in 2020, during the summer rioting season, Black Lives Matter activists informed Louisville, Kentucky businesses that if they did not put Black Lives Matter logos in their windows, that their store could be violated, could be smashed, could be burned, could be robbed. But if they had the BLM sticker, it would be okay. It was, for example, akin to the Israelites painting their doorposts with the blood of the Lamb so that God would pass over them with the final judgment in Egypt. It was the same way. BLM was taking the religious imagery of the Israelites last night in Egypt and applying it to downtown Louisville, Kentucky. If you put BLM logos on your storefronts, we will pass by you and you will be unscathed. It was religious. It is a religious adherence to left-wing dogma that requires that corporations speak out against Donald Trump. It is religious dogma that they speak out against his immigration policies. It is religious dogma that they speak out for transgenderism. It is religious dogma that they speak out for the pro-Hamas cause and the Palestinian cause and shut up about Israel. It is religious dogma from the left. And just as the Romans asked Polycarp to be quiet, it's the exact opposite. The left want the corporations to speak up, and it's the corporations that are not religious, that are not converted, that do not share a gospel message. They just want to be left alone and make money. That's what they want. Their religion is capitalism. They don't want to talk about Black Lives Matter. They don't want to talk about Trump. They don't want to talk about immigration. And after 2016, when Donald Trump won but lost the popular vote, the left felt like they could seize on that and say, a majority of America's with us, not them. You must speak out. And corporations began speaking out, or else they'd be boycotted. And then Joe Biden was elected in 2020. He came into office in 2021, and he used the Justice Department to target corporations that did not speak up on key issues. And universities being filled with left-wing academics, of course, they're all the religious sort, the left-wing religion, and they had to speak up. The University of Michigan, Cornell, Columbia, Harvard, you name it. They've spoken out about all the big issues. Now it turns out Donald Trump won the popular vote. I need to say that again because the left tends to forget it. Donald Trump won the popular vote. Republicans won the popular vote. Turns out, just based on consumer spending, Target never should have spoken up to begin with. Remember, Target had a Satanist group design gender-affirming clothes for children, for trans kids, made a big deal about it. I mean, you went to Target last year during the month of June. I don't know why they set Pride Month for my birthday month, but you go to Target during Pride Month, it looked like Rainbow Bright threw up. And now they've scaled back. Turns out it offended more people than it brought in. So what's the left response now? Boycotting Target. It's not helping them, actually. People are returning to Target. New York Times is lamenting this today. Just a few years ago, university statements on the day's social and political issues abounded. When Russia attacked Ukraine in 2022, Harvard's president at the time called it senseless and deplorable and flew the invaded country's flag in Harvard Yard. After George Floyd died under the knee of a white police officer, Cornell's president said she was sickened. The University of Michigan's president described the October 7th violence against Israel as a horrific attack by Hamas terrorists. But over the last year, each of those universities has adopted policies that limit official statements on current issues. According to a new report released on Tuesday from the Heterodox Academy, a group that's been critical of progressive orthodoxy on college campuses, 148 colleges have adopted institutional neutrality policies by the end of 2024, a trend that underscores the scorching political scrutiny they're under. All but 8 of those policies were adopted after the Hamas attacks. This is kind of common sense, but the left thinks it's a bad thing. There are people on college campuses who disagree with each other, who have different viewpoints. Why should a university stake out a position when half the university agrees one way and half agrees the other way? And so this is the reverse Polycarp. The Roman governor came to Polycarp and said, if you'll just shut up about this guy Jesus, we won't burn you at the stake. The left comes to the universities and says, if you don't talk about our issue, we're going to burn you at the stake. The common core is religion. Polycarp couldn't shut up because he had a religious belief. The progressives can't shut up because they have a religious belief. The difference between Polycarp's God and the left's God is that Polycarp's God, it's a one-on-one relationship. In the left, everybody's going to get on board or burn. Secularism leaves no room for another God. In a pluralistic society, we're a nation of many peoples, of many religions, and the left can't abide that. And they're outraged and using the New York Times now to target academic institutions that they believe that they have a right to control, which have decided, you know what, we're not going to stake out positions and affirm the left on all their causes. We're not going to do it. And the left is very upset about it. But it's actually a good thing, because here's the point that even the New York Times misses. These corporations and these universities, they didn't want to speak out to begin with. They never have wanted to stake out positions. Donald Trump's election is not making them scared to take a position. Donald Trump's election is telling them it's safe for them to go back to not taking a position. It's safe for them. Polycarp was burned at the stake because he couldn't shut up. The left wants to burn corporations and universities at the stake for not speaking up. And Donald Trump administration is telling the corporations and the universities that when they put you on the funeral pyre and try to strike the match, the rest of us will throw water on it and put out the fire. Y'all just keep shutting up so that everyone in America can shop at your store without you having to affirm someone's politics. But the left just doesn't like it when someone doesn't affirm their politics, because to not affirm them is to reject them.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Cool Day Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Looks like new trouble in Gwinnett County up in Suwanee on an 85 northbound right at the 985 split. Crash, I believe at least one left lane is blocked, but either way, you're slowing back toward Old Peachtree Road. Still seeing the delays into Forsyth County with the crash in 1 to 2 right lanes, 400 northbound approaching Highway 20, exit 14. That's why you're slow there. And downtown filling in, 75-85 southbound leaving 17th Street down toward North Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by PureTalk.com. It's time to ditch big wireless. Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month on their 5G network. Dial pound 250 and say keyword switch now to save 50% off your first month. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Tune in to Atlanta's Morning News.
Several families also displaced after another apartment fire.
All your latest news, weather, and traffic.
Even the bridge over 75 is being held.
Tomorrow morning at 5.
Raleigh is now a permanent part of Appalachia High.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB, how Atlanta starts its day.
Do you think you need to renovate your kitchen, but you're worried about the costs? Well, Frugal Kitchens can help you get $1 million looking kitchen for a fraction of the cost and 18 months no interest financing available. The best part, they can get you back up and cooking in 5 days from the start of construction. Life happens in your kitchen. That's where you build so many memories. If you're like Christy and me, that's why we use Frugal Kitchens, and you can too. FrugalKitchens.com is the website. Go check them out. Don't forget, 18 months, no interest financing available. FrugalKitchens.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into.
They think they know what equities they have. They think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 80% lean Kroger brand ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are only $4.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler, and here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
877-973-7425 is the number. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The markets continue. You know, we've got the great conspiracy theories shaping up now, which is kind of interesting. Already, like I'm seeing this in social media. People are concluding, well, Joe Biden decided to sabotage the economy and stack the deck so it would collapse when Donald Trump became president. And when you ask them to chart the timeline of that, it happened well before the election. So I guess they think he was going to. The conspiratorial thinking of my side can't own this. We have to find a way to blame the other side. The Democrats, by the way, did the same thing. You'll remember that they blamed the inflation that Joe Biden caused on Donald Trump and said actually it was a conspiracy theory. Donald Trump had set them up to have this happen. I just sometimes just own it and mitigate it. There's breaking news happening, though. We got to get to this. Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz, the National Security Advisor, along with Secretary of State Rubio in Saudi Arabia. Let me see if I can get you the audio here of Rubio and Mike Waltz here. Let's see. Let me reset the audio here so I can get it. Looks like there's a peace deal happening. I'll try to find this for you. Essentially, here's the quote. Today we've made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end the conflict in a way that is enduring and sustainable.
Yeah. Offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation. I want to personally we both want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, for hosting us, for making this possible. They've been instrumental in this process, and we're very grateful to them for hosting us.
There you go. Ukraine accepts the terms for a peace deal. Now, between banks out there and, gosh, the stock market and all that, Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash. They've been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. Gold seems to be the only thing doing well right now. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war, you need their report. You can get it for free. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Swiss America can educate you on protecting your assets. Their report, completely free, takes less than 15 minutes to read, can save your retirement and finances. You get your free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The All Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's growing daily. So get the Secret War on Cash report completely free. Just mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Call, get the report completely free. Just mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Reach out to Swiss America today.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. This just in, Ukraine says in a joint statement with the U.S. it is open to a 30-day ceasefire in its ongoing war with Russia. More on this coming up in just a moment. President Trump says he'll double planned tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel imports. The president says in response to Canada putting a 25% tariff on electricity into the U.S., he would raise the tariffs to 50%. On Wall Street this hour, the Dow is down more than 400 points. The NASDAQ is actually up 38 points at this hour. Atlanta police say the man caught on camera slashing tents at a homeless encampment on Wheat Street is now under arrest. 42-year-old David Barnett faces 7 counts of criminal trespass and damage to property and 1 count of reckless conduct. He was arrested while at the Fulton County Courthouse in an unrelated case. Now the latest on a U.S. proposal for a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia.
CBS News special report. After 8 hours of high-stakes talks in Saudi Arabia.
Today we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their interests, their security, their ability to prosper as a nation.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the ball is now in Russia's court. In turn, the United States has agreed to lift restrictions on military aid and intelligence sharing. CBS's Jennifer Jacobs is there.
Whatever information U.S. officials get from the Ukrainians in this particular set of meetings, then they will take it following their shuttle diplomacy strategy and take that to the Russian officials and see what they can get hammered out with the Russian officials.
In a joint statement, the two sides say they have also agreed to conclude a deal on Ukrainian minerals as soon as possible. CBS News Special Report. I'm Stacey Lynn.
It's now 2:32. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
When it rains, you need to make sure your home is protected from the ground up. That means starting in your crawl space. Water in your crawl space can lead to problems in your house. Crawl space issues? Visit aquaguard.net today and book a free inspection. Remember,
AquaGuard.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Been dealing with a crash in Suwanee on 85 and northbound, right at the 985 split. Looks like it's been blocking at least the HOT lane, so some delays back toward Sugarloaf Parkway. Hopefully they can get that one cleared up. Elsewhere, watching the brake lights fill in, 285 southbound, the outer loop on the west side from South Cobb Drive down to I-20, the West Freeway. Speaking of the West Freeway, stalled dump truck in the center lane of the I-20 westbound exit ramp to Thornton Road, exit 44 there in Lithia Springs. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Wonderful. So I see Reed Timmer, who is the meteorologist and storm chaser, saying that watching Saturday for a possible peak in severe weather and tornado potential across the Mid-South ahead of a reinforcing trough that amplifies behind the Friday bomb cyclone system. Friday looks to be a little moisture star behind Wednesday's lead system, despite very strong kinematics, but there still could be some supercell potential eastern Missouri into western Illinois and a nocturnal threat further south. Saturday, however, we'll have plenty of moisture. Of course, I would pick this weekend to go to the mountains to play golf, and guess where? They're targeting right where I'm going to be, my beloved Barnsley Gardens. I'm going to go play golf by myself this weekend, or at least I was. Now it appears I'll be hunkering down during thunderstorms. Of course, at least I'll have Friday to hit golf balls. My wife's been telling me I'm getting irritable. I need to go away for a little while, so I am for a weekend. That's fine. Now, we got to move on to other stuff. We got much more to talk about. There is one warning sign you do need to know, and that is that airline CEOs are starting to warn that there is lagging travel coming. Airlines are cutting their first quarter profit and sales estimates, warning that a weaker economic backdrop is weighing on travel demand ahead of a J.P. Morgan industry conference. American Airlines on Tuesday said it expects to lose between 60 cents a share and 80 cents a share in the first 3 months of the year, a wider loss than the 20 cents to 40 cents a share previously forecast. It said revenue would be flat for the year compared with a January estimate of a rise of as much as 5%. Why? American said that it is seeing a slowdown in travel plans. Delta Airlines saying the same thing. Its outlook was, quote, impacted by the recent reduction in consumer and corporate confidence caused by increased macro uncertainty driving softness in domestic demand. Don't mean to be argumentative. don't mean to insult you. Don't mean to be disagreeable. I just have to give you a basic truth. This is just a basic truth. The markets and the business environment and business in general, big business and small business, does not like uncertainty, because uncertainty has to be managed and planned around. It's not planned for. I am a small business owner. I do a budget for the year. My budget is based on revenue projections. My business is pretty easy to budget for. The bigger your business goes, the more your business involves in trade, the more uncertainty in the economic climate affects your business. It's not just Fortune 500 companies that matter. It's privately held companies that can also be impacted. And when we can't get certainty on tariffs, whether you like tariffs or not is not the problem. The problem is we can't plan for certain on when the tariffs will go into effect, what the tariffs will be, will they last or not. It becomes hard for businesses to plan around that. And as a result, a business's natural reaction is to pull back. And an individual's natural reaction to the potential for an economic slowdown is also to pull back and hoard their resources to see what happens. It's the uncertainty that causes that. I don't care where you stand on tariffs or not. I really don't. What I need you to understand, however, is that uncertainty on the application and the timing of tariffs causes uncertainty in the economics of not just businesses, but also individuals who start to worry about a recession. And when the President of the United States suggests that perhaps there could be an economic slowdown, his Treasury Secretary has also said it turns out there's been underlying weakness. We've all known there's been underlying weakness, and now the Trump team's here to tell us the truth. They're being responsible in that regard. Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, is out and says, no way, no how are we going to have a recession. Trump is not so sure. But the underlying uncertainty of the application of tariffs has more to do with what's happening right now than anything else in the market, because it's the uncertainty that's matter. It's not the tariffs that matter. And I need, whether you're getting your back against the wall trying to defend everything Trump does, or you hate Donald Trump and you're attacking him, I need you to just understand this one basic point. Right now, at this moment, the middle of March of 2025, the tariffs are not so much the problem economically as the uncertainty about the tariffs. If this White House provides certainty about the tariffs, the markets and the companies and the individuals can plan around the tariffs. But when one day we're going to have them and the next day they're rolled back, and then we're going to have reciprocal tariffs, but not in this regard and not on this product, but now on this product, and now it's going to be a higher rate, then a lower rate. Now it's going to be a higher rate because of what they did. That adds to the uncertainty. And I just need everybody to understand, I don't care what your position is on tariffs. It is just the truth. I'm not lying to you. I'm not shilling for someone. I'm not carrying water for anybody. It is just a basic economic truth that individuals and companies do not like certainty when it comes to their household wealth or their corporate wealth and finances, and they just need to see what the plan is so they can plan for it or plan around it. And if we could get this from the White House, a lot of the topsy-turvy nature of the markets right now would settle back down into a growth routine. We just need an idea of what's actually going to happen, and we need it to not change. That's the problem that we're dealing with right now. Now, let me go back to the phones. Michael, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show, Michael.
Hello, I hope the road noise isn't too bad heading up the highway. the point I called in about is one of the headwinds we're going to face is DOGE and actually the stopping of the spending, wasteful spending. You know, Bidenomics was just Obamonomics. It's basically you just waste a whole bunch of money really quickly. It's very stimulative. And our whole economy has been built on a growing deficit. We just keep borrowing more and more money, and it's mainly on wasteful spending. An example I have here in Atlanta is the National Urban League probably got, I think last year it was like $10 million in grants. And they got $2 million when they redeveloped the Gulch. They made the developer give them $2 million for racial equity. But what do? They go out and they have a function out in a bad neighborhood, and they pay the caterer a bunch of money, and they buy a bunch of T-shirts, and they pay for the facility, and the people who administer it, they take 30-40% of the cut, and they're making $200,000, $100,000, and these are in third-party governments. I mean, third parties, they're in not-for-profits. They don't make profits; they just take it all themselves for the people that run it. And as DOGE keeps wringing all this stuff out, it's also going to have short-term a negative impact on the economy, because all that wasteful spending just sloshed through, particularly Atlanta. Atlanta got tons and tons of NGO money that was spent in the local community, and particularly in prominent Democrats that were buying houses and going out to eat and so forth.
Yeah, okay. So let me talk about that, because yes and no. And by the way, Michael, to your point, I found out, so I'm in Middle Georgia. I'm not even in Atlanta. And found out there's a local nonprofit here that's paying their CEO like $750,000, which is absurd to me, well above the cost of living in the area. There are a lot of nonprofits. However, there's an offset here, and this gets back to something I was saying earlier. There may be a short-term impact because the federal government has been throwing money at a lot of wealthy progressives. Those wealthy progressives have been spending their money to keep the economy afloat. They now are having to pull their money back, so it's not keeping the economy afloat. But what did I talk about earlier? Funding government. The money comes from government. So if you reduce the money from the government, you're going to grow the private sector. So there may be a short-term discombobulation as these wealthy progressives are no longer getting their grants from the federal government. But that's not going to last long, because what's going to happen is the government is going to produce less, which means it's going to take less money from the private sector to fund the public sector, which means that money is going to go somewhere. What DOGE is doing is actually stimulative to the private sector. Scott Jennings actually was on, this is one of my frustrations with the Abby Phillips show on CNN, where they always want to fact check Scott Jennings, always want to, but listen.
Let me tell you something. There's a huge able-bodied population in this country that should not be on welfare. That is a true story.
Okay, first of all,
Well, that's
welfare,
actually not true.
hold on a second. Welfare is not the biggest driver of this, actually. But what I'm saying is that DOGE has put all this money on the board, and they've said, oh, this is waste, fraud, and abuse. And when you really look at it, they're just programs that Elon and the president and random 20-something-year-olds don't like. So when you say fraud and abuse, there's not a lot of evidence.
The first word is usually waste, and they consider it to be waste.
Do you think they are not actually doing that?
Listen, they want to fact checking, but his basic point is down. There are a lot of people getting government money right now who fell out of the workforce, who actually could go back into the workforce if we weren't subsidizing them to stay unemployed. And we have instead chosen to bring in a class of illegal immigrant to replace Americans who just don't want to work. So you get rid of the illegal immigrants, you make those people go back to work, you cut the money from government, and that money has to go to the private sector. Money wants to go somewhere to grow. Money wants to grow. If it can't grow by buying government bonds to grow the government, it's going to go into the private sector and grow in the private sector. So, yeah, if you cut all the money going to these non-governmental organizations that are run by the left, yes, to a degree, they're going to cut back. But that money's going to find other places in the private sector to go instead of going first to the government and then redirecting to the private sector. And it's going to have a positive stimulus on the private sector. And could there be some short-term pain? Yeah, there actually could be a little short-term pain. But it's not going to last long because the private sector dollars are spent more efficiently than public sector dollars. So not only do they get into the economy faster, they work quicker than if they go to the public sector. But right now, that money is sitting on the sidelines. Now, I've said money wants to grow. It wants to go somewhere, the path of least resistance. So why is it sitting on the sidelines? Because the money doesn't know where to go right now because of the uncertainty for tariffs. Long-term, tariffs have a negative impact. Why do tariffs have a negative impact long-term? Because there are always, in a country like ours with a massive economy, there are fewer winners than there are losers when it comes to tariffs. But also, tariffs build a protectionist economy, and in a protectionist economy, businesses begin to grow like monopolies. They get very inefficient because they don't have to compete with companies in other countries because their government's protecting them. So you actually get more inefficient companies that actually slow economic growth. That's one of the biggest reasons that tariffs are a problem. Reciprocal tariffs are actually a better solution, but even with reciprocal tariffs, typically the way the United States deals with a reciprocal tariff is we find ways around them instead of imposing them because a tariff breeds inefficiency. So take, for example, the dairy imports from Canada. Canada has a 265% tariff on the United States for dairy products. You know how we found a way around it? We got Canada to raise a cap that we can't meet. So if we exceed the cap of imports into Canada on dairy, we would get a 265% tariff. But we don't exceed that import into Canada. So the Canadian entities that wanted the tariff got their tariff, but we were able to get a cap on the tariff so it doesn't actually apply to our imports. The money found an efficient way to flow. We have to find efficient ways to flow the money. And the uncertainty over when we're going to get tariffs, what the rate's going to be, when they're going to apply, and how they're going to apply is keeping money on the sidelines, and that's the present turmoil. Long term, tariffs will slow the economy down, but we're not even at that point yet. We're just at the point of uncertainty, and we've got to get through the point of uncertainty to get the economy to rebound, and it's not hard to do. We just need some economic guidance from the White House. Now, you heard my caller earlier, Pierce. He went to Vision Computers, and you still have time to do this before these full tariffs kick in April. If you want to get a great machine, Vision's where you want to go. They can build you a machine, save you some money, and then you get their world-class tech support. Listen, Pierce told it better than I could. His family had a printer problem. They were able to call Vision. They got a phone call answered in like 3 seconds, and within 10 minutes, they had everything up and operational. The Vision can talk you through it. They can even remote into your computer if you need them to do it. It's 404 Compute. Anybody nationwide. You're listening out on KSLM in Oregon. You're listening up on WTIC up in Connecticut. You're listening down in Florida, WFTL. You can reach out to Vision Computer. Call them at 404 Compute. Tell them I sent you. You're going to save even more money. You get their 5-star customer service where you call them, someone actually answers the phone. In 15 seconds or less, they can diagnose your problem. They can talk you through fixing it, or they can remote in and fix it themselves. Email support, printer support, you name it. But they also build your machines and save you money. And if you build the machine with them, you get the tech support for free. 404 Compute or visioncomputers.com. Reach out to them today.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Swanee. The crash 85 northbound at I-985 has cleared. Lingering delays from Sugarloaf Parkway will start to improve. And it looks like the crash is all gone in Forsyth County. 400 northbound at Buford Drive, exit number 20. If you're taking 285 east or southbound the inner loop into Cobb County, watching that afternoon volume pick up from Peachtree Boulevard in the Dorville area, trying to get past I-85. And downtown also getting slower, heading southbound from the 85-400 merge as you make your way down past North Avenue. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The Morning Rush Hour.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median.
Evening Rush Hour.
It is an absolute mess.
And everything in between.
Also, bring the speeds down. The rain is falling on 75 and 575.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic Center.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic. Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
We are here with Aaron Vincent and Matthew Decker of the Vincent Financial Group. And gentlemen, when we talk about customizing a retirement plan, where is the most important place to start?
The most important place to start is with risk, because everything's built on that. We use this analogy like your financial house. The most important aspect of your house is the foundation. It doesn't matter how well you do the rest of your house. If that part is not correct, everything else is going to suffer.
Yeah, not only is it the place to start, but people come into the office and, they'll have questions about, where do we start? start and how do we do this? And first we have to outline what the risks are. And so a lot of times we'll ask, like, well, you've worked so hard for the last 20, 30 years, you're getting ready to retire. What are the things that you're worried about? People say healthcare, inflation, taxes, market volatility. And we're like, yep, totally. Those are all absolutely risks to your retirement. But actually, the number one risk to your retirement, unfortunately, is you. Most people don't even know how much risk they're actually taking in their portfolio. But if you don't know how much risk you're taking in your portfolio, if you're not comfortable with the level of risk that you're taking in your portfolio, if you've never had this conversation before, I'm going to invite you to have the conversation with our team. It takes 15 minutes. We can do it over the phone. We'd love to do it in person, but you start the process with a phone call. If you're married, we'll have both of you. We'll find out your risk scores, have a conversation about it, and you will have more context with what you're currently doing and maybe what you should do into the future.
So ask yourself, am I taking too much risk in my portfolio or maybe not enough? We invite you to call the Vincent Financial Group today and ask for the no-cost, no-obligation risk assessment. 770-280-1488. That's 770-280-1488. We're always online at retireatlradio.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. A 401k assessment does not constitute a comprehensive retirement plan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
I don't always agree with Congressman Thomas Massie. Like, I would vote for this continuing resolution. But Thomas Massie has for years said he's not going to vote for any more spending. He wants real budgets. He wants comprehensive reforms to reduce the size and scope of government. And everybody says they want it. And I just find it very notable that this is a man who has said what everyone wants done, he wants done, and he's willing to vote in the way everyone says they want it, and he's getting bullied for doing it from the president on down, for defying everyone in Congress and saying, not going to do this. And I just think that it is a good thing that Thomas Massie is willing to dig at his heels and say, this far, no further. Yeah, he voted to raise the debt ceiling when Joe Biden was president. Why? Because Republicans conditioned it on automatic spending cuts in the future, and then they reneged on those spending cuts. And he says, I'm done. I gave you my vote, and you, the Republicans, actually broke your word on cutting spending, so you're not going to get my vote now. And I appreciate his principle on that. Whether I agree with him or not, it's nice to have a principled person in Washington. Again, he voted to raise the debt ceiling when Biden was president because Republicans premised it on automatic spending cuts in the future if goals weren't met. And then it was the Republicans, not the Democrats, who betrayed their own spending cut goals, and now they're blaming Thomas Massie for voting no. He said he would if they betrayed their goals. He's kept his word. Why is he the bad guy? Everybody says they want smaller government. He's the one voting for smaller government. Why is he the bad guy? There's breaking news happening right now. As I'm headed off the air, Rob Ford, the premier of Ontario, Canada, has agreed to suspend the 25% tariff on Canadian electricity exports to the United States since Donald Trump has raised tariffs in Canada to 50% to counter the 25% Canadian electricity exports. I wonder if we just said we're going to nuke Canada, what could we get from them? I just throwing that out there. I mean, we're going to throw in a 50% tariff to get stuff, and they've caved. If we just say they may give us their whole country if we threaten to nuke them. I don't actually want Canada to be part of the United States. They're a bunch of progressives. They would, you know how many Democrats we would have in Congress? Republicans would never get a majority again if you admitted Canada, because you'd have to admit it by province, not by the whole country. And do you know how many Democrats that would admit to Congress? No, let's leave them as our comfortable hat. And we they can be our hat. We don't need them as states. But here you go, the tariffs on energy being abandoned by Canada.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So, you know my thing, I don't like to check a bag. I do carry-on only. I was in the travel industry long ago, and I know the hassles people experience by checking a bag, and then their bag goes who knows where. But a lot of people want to check a bag. You're taking a lot of stuff on a trip, whatever, and your bag can just go who knows where and not end up where you go. So I love for you to use AirTags or the Android equivalent in your luggage. And now more and more airlines are incorporating, if you have an AirTag in your bag, incorporating it into their baggage system because they know it's a superior way to track a bag than what they've got. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. Ukraine agrees to a ceasefire deal in its war with Russia.
CBS News special report, progress in negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. In meetings with American officials in Saudi Arabia, Ukraine has agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Today, we made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable and accounts for their